Who's got that Friday feeling out there? We go again, day 2 of the Grand National meeting. Myself, Dave Orton, steering the ship. And what a ship and terrain we have to steer today for you. Get involved out there. Let us know you're there. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook Live, or anything on Twitter, of course, hashtag RP Live. Don't forget to let us know, like and subscribe. Let's hear from you. We're building up to 5:15 on Saturday, but what a card we've still got to take you all the way. We will be with you until the 4:40 this afternoon. Plenty of action. We've got Jonbon coming up at 2:20. Who's with him? Let us know. With our sponsors Betfair today, we're going to have some fun. Retraining of racehorses is the chosen charity. Barry Orr, who joins us today, knocked it out the park again yesterday. 250 going their way. Let's see if we can build on that and get you some shekels as well. Without further ado, let's go down. And this is, listen, we take this meeting very seriously. Bruce Millington is back. We're sitting rather close to each other today.
Not normally this close, and there's 4 of us as well. It's all a bit unfamiliar.
A different dynamic, absolutely. Happy to be here?
Very much so, yeah, looking forward to it.
Your last appearance was something memorable, wasn't it?
Can't really match 100 to 1 winner.
They don't come around too often.
I haven't got 100 to 1 fancy yet, but there might be one later.
We're going to ask you for your national 1, 2, 3, 4 as well.
Very confident about that.
Yes, all right, good stuff. Yeah. I saw him in the office. He means that as well. We went all through it. Graeme Rodway, for the first time this week, comes back. The big bear himself, sandwiched between 2 icons of the racing post. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Dave.
You've been to Ireland and back this week, haven't you?
Been a busy week this week, yeah. Been in Cork all week. It was actually nice weather down there, actually.
Took the laptop?
Yeah, been busy, yeah.
Don't let me off. Don't let you off, do we, at all?
No weeks off here.
Why'd you go to Cork?
My missus has got family down in Cork, yeah. So we were down with the family catching up. It was lovely.
Sabrina,
yeah.
The 1:30 Paul Nichols trained mare.
Yeah, finished 3rd in the Mare's Hurdle.
It's a lovely part of the world, isn't it? Did you get along to Killarney and all
beautiful.
those places? Did you get
we went to Clonakilty. Clonakilty?
We'll name check that.
Yeah, I found that we had this discussion the other day. Tom Park was on. He was talking about best racing pubs in England. Yeah. We found a nice racing pub in Clonakilty.
I bet you did.
Yeah, it was. They had all the racing on. Nice pint of Guinness at the bar. It was great.
Okay, there you go. Keith Melrose, quizmaster himself, betting it into back for 2-day stint.
Yeah, how could I miss the National Day?
You couldn't. We did it last year, didn't we? It was one of the best days of our careers.
Well, it would have been even better, Dave, if any second now hadn't been wiped out. Me and Ross Bradley that day were both on him, but it's we're just, it is the race where everyone's watching. It is one of the great races of the year. I would have been knocking on your door to be doing tomorrow if I wasn't already. So
yeah, we're going to get G-Rod's 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. Can't wait for that one alongside Bruce's, but we'll save yours if you don't mind for tomorrow. Here's the members club before we go over to Dublin. Racing Post, okay then, so stay ahead of the field. Get 30% off your first year. Just use the link in the description. You can find out more there. There you go, breaking news, exclusives, all the big interviews, everything you need for these big festivals. Get involved. Let's go then to the big hitter. I can hear him in the background, beavering away. Barry, what a day we have. The sun shines in Aintree.
Yeah, it's cracking day. It looks like over there. It's a nice day here in Dublin as well, thankfully, and a lot to look forward to today. Obviously, we've just got some really, really smart horses we get to see. But a couple I'm looking to take on that had raced already in Cheltenham, and I think there's a couple of lays on the card today, as well as a couple of fancies in the win and place market on the exchange. And then obviously we've all the great stuff on the sportsbook. The 220 is the money back special race on the Betfair sportsbook. If your horse fails to place, you get your cash back as a free bet up to a tenner. So check that out on the 220. We'll talk about that later. And then there's loads of extra place races. And as we say in every show, Dave, it's all about showcasing the functionality of the exchange and the sportsbook. And any winnings we have from the charity bets our bets go to charity. And this month's charity is retraining of racehorses. Thankfully, we managed to bank 250 quid for them so far yesterday.
All right, Barry, absolutely. And do we have some housekeeping? Everyone loves your lucky 15 at the start of the show. We've been creeping closer to the Holy Grail there, haven't we?
Yeah, we've hit the crossbar a couple of times with the lucky 15s, but today we've got one that I think should go really, really well. We'll kick off, Keith, please, in our first live race here at 2:20. It's First Street for Nico de Boinville.
Yep,
going to put that in. Our second leg is then Captain Guinness.
There he is.
For the magic combination of Henry de Bromhead and Rachel Blackmore. Our third leg then is going to be Foxy Jack in the Topham. That's 6 places on the Betfair Sportsbook in the Topham, so definitely availing of that. And then our last leg is in the 440, our last race, and it's Crystal Glory.
There we are.
And that's 4 places on the Betfair Sportsbook as well there. So availing of those 2 extra place races, 6 places in the top and 4 places in that Sefton Novices Hurdle on the Betfair Sportsbook. So I think that's coming to about 20 odd grand. Is it 21 grand last time I looked? So fingers crossed.
Yeah. So what was this unit stake? Sorry, Barry.
Sorry, it's £1, lucky 15.
£1 each way, lucky 1.
15. So it's obviously 6 doubles, 4 trebles, an accumulator, and 4 singles. It's 15 bets. We're doing it for each way. So for £1, so it's going to cost us 30 quid.
£30, and there you are, 21,461.
Oh, you even highlighted it there, Keith. That's a first as well. What's this odds boost I was seeing there, Barry? What's the odds boost about there on that?
So you can odds boost any of your horses throughout the day on the Betfair Sportsbook. Sometimes we do double odds boosts as well, but on each race today, you can odds boost the horse. So if you've got a 6-1 chance, you can potentially boost it up to 13-2. If you have a 2-1 chance, you could odds boost it up to 21-10 or 9-4, that sort of thing. So you could select horses and do that throughout the week.
Marvellous. There you go. You know. And Barry has been getting very close. We'd certainly be taking out the places of those lucky 15s as well. There it is, the 220. If you're new to the show, there is the real market. There it is, right there. I'll never get this right. There. Jonbon, talking horse, a lot of the winter, wasn't he, going into Cheltenham? Saw the backside, shall we say, of stablemate Constitution Hill by some way. Was he used as something as a sacrificial lamb there? We shall find out from the panel. And is he going to take out this? One of, again, many, many Grade 1s coming your way throughout the week and today as well. Crystal Glory, who Barry put up in the last few, shrewd judges going for Nicky Richards' horse there as well. There it is, Aintree Day 2. First Street, Captain Guinness, Foxy Jacks, and Crystal Glory as well. All right, if you want to get involved, small stakes, safe gambling, that's what we our MO here at the Racing Post, and Betfair as well. That'll give you an interest all throughout the afternoon. We're going to have a lot of fun. Shall we start ramping up then? Jonbon. Barry, is there a single trade? Should we get that out of the way before I go down the panel and get their thoughts on it?
Yeah, we certainly can. Yeah, like I said, this is the money back special race on the Sportsbook. If your horse fails to finish in the first 3, you get your cash back as a free bet. The favourite, very strong. They have 1.98. The shade of odds on now on the exchange. 6L Fabio that won a nothing race really in Tranmore. So he's that price more on reputation than anything. First Street is 7, 16.5 bar. I like First Street. I can't see him out of the first 3. He was third in the Betfair Hurdle in November. He really bumped into one in Statesman in the County Hurl. He gave him £1. All the action was on the stand side, and he came up the far side. So I'd mark him up for that run as well, and he stayed on really well. So I thought I couldn't see him out of first race. So we're going to back him win in place, please, Keith. We're going to have 25 quid on at 7, and we're going to back him in the 3-place market as well, where he's currently trading at around a 7-4 mark. We'll have 25 quid in him there, win in place, First Street.
OK, the second string then for Barry, and for many of you out there, I think, as well, in the first. I guess that he's now going odds on because of the weakness of El Fabiolo a little bit, isn't he? A lot of people would have expecting him to be odds on in the first place. Bit of housekeeping. First race, Langadan. All went wrong, didn't it, in the finale of the Cheltenham Festival? Well, he's got it right in the opening race of day 2. He took it out for Harry Skelton and Dan Skelton. Slow by 8.5 seconds. I'm looking at you, Keith. That sounds like it's quickening up a tad.
It does. It was apparently about 12 seconds, 13 seconds faster than Epatante yesterday. That was a bit of a run race today, but it's clearly quicker ground. Absolutely no question.
OK, bear that in mind. Another bit of housekeeping. Davy Russell rode a horse called Speech Bubble in the first, despite the fact many of you, including me, were screaming at Gav Sheehan to get her into the top 7, or however many places you get. Gav Sheehan has failed a breath test, and so he's been stood down. So it's very dangerous going to Aintree and enjoying that first night a little bit too much. Maybe Gav got involved with that, I don't know. But I'm sure you will check that out in your Members Club. We'll be covering that for you. Look at the sea of people at Aintree. First time since 2019, Bruce Millington.
The atmosphere will be fantastic. I mean, this Friday of Aintree is one of the big not just big days in the sporting calendar in Liverpool and Merseyside, but the calendar. It's massive, isn't it? Everyone gets dolled up and dressed up and in the best clobber. It's absolutely fantastic, and they've been let off the leash here for the first time in 3 years. It's going to be absolutely superb. It's going to be a riot there.
Matty Batch was in yesterday. He got some great stories for us. He said he called it Oompa Loompa Day. There's just a sea of orange everywhere, which is a lot of trouser suits and fake tans up there. Have you ever been on Ladies' Day, G?
Yeah, I've been a few times. Yeah,
Of course you have.
Yeah. It's a great day. It's a great night, and it's a great meeting, isn't it? All 3 days are great.
Yeah. National 1, 2, 3, 4. You're taking your adoptive selective stance today. You've already had food pearlers in the office about that.
Yeah.
This is one of your better bets, though, isn't it? So shall we start off with you in the first, please?
Well, yeah, I mean, Jonbon is obviously still one of the most overrated, overhyped horses in training, even after finishing second in the Supreme. Obviously, at the start of the season, how good was he, Dave? Everyone said, oh, this is an absolute star. Well, we're yet to see it, aren't we?
How short did he go in the anti-post market, Barry, for the Supreme before Constitution Hill came out? Was it around about 5-2?
It was a 5-2 chance at one stage. He was challenging him at the head of the market day.
5-2. What did he go off?
What did he actually achieve at Cheltenham, though, Dave? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Constitution Hill won. Absolute Fresh Air was second. Dysart Dynamo ran like a loon. He didn't actually achieve much in finishing second,
Come
did
to
he?
Bruce on this. You like First Street as well, do you? No, sorry, you're
go-
Jonbon, aren't
get
you?
your.
Oh, yeah,
Say
yeah.
who he does fancy.
Oh, First Street will
Right.
win, yeah. He's got the best piece of form in the race. I mean, I said that second in the county hurdle last time out, it's far and away the best piece of form in the race, in my opinion.
This is your nap of the day. Look.
I think State Man could win the champion hurdle next year, and that won the county. He was the only one to give him any sort of race, and I'm really confident
You
that
think
he's the best
State Man
horse in
can
this
beat
race.
Constitution Hill?
Big call, but he is a good price in comparison. I think he was like 20-odd to 1 for the champion, State Man. He's very lightly raced, isn't he? And this Mullins beast El Fabiolo, whatever they call him, I mean, he
Well,
can't...
that is what they call him.
Yeah, he can't...
Whatever they call him.
He can't be any... He can't... I mean, I think I just read the spotlight, and it says one at Tremor and Debbie Foley Mullins, who holds him in high esteem. Well, if he holds him in high esteem, well, why didn't he run at Cheltenham?
He had a
Because
cut.
Willie Mullins runs all his best
He was
horses at
injured.
Cheltenham. Is that
He had a
right?
cut, missed it, yeah.
Well, Willie Mullins don't run his best horses at Aintree anyway.
The reason why I wanted to bring you in there, because you like Dysart Diamond, didn't you? Or Dynamo, sorry, for the...
Yeah.
Which one is it?
I wasn't
Diamond or
sure.
Dynamo?
I mean, I wasn't sure.
But you went that way. Do you think the Jonbon spoilt your chance a bit there? It's
Not
what-
really. I
Right.
don't know. Not really. No. I mean, he got lit up. I think he probably would have done anyway, wouldn't he?
Someone suggested to me it was like JP had backed Constitution Hill.
I don't. My memory of the race was that Jonbon and Dysart Dynamo went off ridiculously quickly, took each other on, ruined each other's chances. Dysart Dynamo fell and Jonbon just fell down a hole. But in actual fact, once they've turned past the best mate, Constitution Hill is already on their heels. And it was a bit quick, wasn't it, Keith? It wasn't breakneck, was it?
Yeah, the leaders, Dysart Dynamo and Jonbon, went a bit too fast. That was it, really.
It was perfect for Constitution Hill.
Well, exactly. They
wasn't
set it up nicely for Constitution Hill, but they didn't. They would have won a race potentially. They didn't completely do themselves in.
And it was enough to take the closers out of their comfort zone when they kicked, wasn't it?
I think with that race, I think you could run it any different way you like, and Constitution Hill would have won half the track. It's just different.
hard to
class.
disagree with that.
I don't think they were. We all thought at the time we were watching some sort of crazy pace burn up. I don't think it was. I've kind of left a chip on the Jonbon table, on the Jonbon number there, but not with any great confidence. He is pretty short.
That's a good way to say it.
I totally get that you'd probably rather back First Street each way, but I do think with Jonbon, it was interesting afterwards. Hendo said, well, knowing how good Jonbon is, it must make Constitution Hill brilliant. I'm prepared to believe Constitution Hill for now is the second coming, and that Jonbon will actually frank that form today.
This is the first runner out of the Supreme.
Is it?
Yes. Often you might have seen also ran, mightn't you, during them, I don't know, one of the smaller tracks trying to exploit the novice status afterwards or something like that. It can be a bit misleading. But the Cheltenham form has stood up both at Ayr and at Cheltenham. It was only the Gold Cup form, wasn't it, in Clanders Obo's race yesterday, that it looked a bit mucky. The Champion Hurdle, Honeysuckle, huge boost. And, of course, the previous race as well, Pied Piper, Night Salute.
I got a theory on the Cheltenham thing.
Here we go.
Yeah.
The Wednesday was obviously that was one of the worst days I've ever been racing in my whole life. The rain was torrential. I just think anything from Wednesday, forget it. The rest of it's all right, but I won't be backing anything that came out of Wednesday. That ground was horrible that day.
Unlike Dusart, who won, of course, at Cheltenham, who ran on the Wednesday.
Yeah, that's true.
We've got Long Press, of course, haven't we, coming up? Seriously good card. Keith, Jonbon, or...
Well, I was just talking off the air with David Jennings, and what happens with Cheltenham, you have the Cheltenham Aintree link, and if one horse on the first day, which in this case was Protected It, comes out and just totally bounces. That's exactly what happened to Protected It yesterday. He travelled and then he went totally flat off the bit, and it gets in your head about the rest of the week. And Jonbon gave himself a hard race at Cheltenham. I don't think there's talk of him having been a pacemaker for Constitution Hill. I think it's just that horse can't help himself. He is a little bit nuts.
What is the tip?
The tip is actually Vina Ardanza, the Gordon Elliott horse, who won at the Scottish National Meeting last year on his debut in a bumper, and then he won a little novice maiden hurdle at Thurles, and he had a time off after that. Absolutely tanked to a Grade 3 at Naas just before Cheltenham, and got hung across and didn't quite. He might have just not been quite fit. Davy Russell, by getting there and horse not really getting home, has got an excuse to hold him up even further now. So he's just going to wait and wait and wait, and I can't see him being out the first 3 or so.
OK, and let's get a social. The commander opens up the floor on this fabulous Friday at Aintree and says, I'm looking forward to seeing how good Vina Ardanza is in this. One for the future for me. Well, probably absolutely right.
It's a good point he makes there, because he's actually bred to be a 3-mile chaser, this horse.
I was going to say they're quite well-known colours these days, aren't they? It's Alma Stud, isn't it? And, OK,
my
so
mate Mozzie.
taking a bit of a flyer. I'm Jonbon as well. I like the way you said that, chip on the table. Because it's not. I'm not all in with this. I couldn't be. I'm not going heavy on this at all. I just think he will prove that form to be too good for the rest of them. I'm not sure about El
I tell you,
Fabiola.
if Jonbon wins this, then we really are dealing in aeroplane territory, aren't we?
You think Constitution is an aeroplane?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think he is.
Sometimes you get yourself in tangles.
I think he is an aeroplane, but are we talking that good?
Yes,
We'll see.
I think we probably are. I mean, the RPRs would tell you that, wouldn't they, and all that sort of stuff. The time was magnificent. I'll tell you one that I expect to run very well, and the Earl took it out last year with Belfast Banter, his surprise package.
I agree, yeah.
It was the hill that beat him, probably.
I don't know. The problem is that when he won at Sandown, you don't get much stiffer finish than Sandown. That's a proper hill.
Yeah, but
I suggest
don't
Cheltenham stiffer.
Everyone thinks that, if you win the Imperial Cup, then you'll automatically run well at Cheltenham. He's only 6 days later, or 5 days later.
He cruised for a lot of that.
He might just have been a bit knackered.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I thought an each-way belt and surprise package would... I wouldn't put anyone off that.
That would be my idea if you wanted to find a bit of value away from the Fab. I wouldn't be with El Fabiola, despite the fact that coming into the meeting, seemingly the crew at Close Sutton, that firm were all over him.
The thing that El Fabiola, Keith, beat at Tremor actually ran at Cheltenham and didn't run brilliantly. So, this form isn't a complete outlier. It is actually linked to the rest of the sort of novice hurdle form, isn't it?
It's when I'm looking at these Mullins horses that have come in off a maiden hurdle win or something into a big race, I'm never really thinking about the collateral form. It never matters.
Well, I mean, why doesn't it? In that, you're saying collateral form in itself doesn't matter?
No, it's because this is a maiden hurdle where you probably had 3 horses that were fit and ready to go.
Yeah, I get that, but at least the horse did run at Cheltenham.
Yeah, it'd be down my list of things to consider.
Right, fair enough.
State Man was another one. He had very similar. He had form that was just, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? Could win the champion hurdle from that form, but State Man's that good. They just don't tell you enough, these races, and that's why they run them in those races and then go into handicap.
This is a great place to watch the lead up to this race. This is a heavyweight panel, isn't it, Barry? We're talking. The one thing that everyone wanted to know about Jonbon pre-Supreme was how would he get down to the start. I've been keeping an eye on him, Barry. I'm not sure if you have. He went down a little bit there, a tad of sweat on his neck, but not too bad. Is the market bearing that out, or is he now odds against?
Looks to me as quiet as a lamb down there. He's walking around the start, not a bother on him. He hasn't turned a hair really, but he's out to 2.14 now, having been 1.98 the last time we talked. So he's 11 to 10 from just a shade of odds on. It's 6 each of 2 now, 5 to 1 El Fabio and First Street. First Street probably the strongest in the betting now. 16.5 at Coonrisk and surprise packages 19. There has been a few quid for some of the outsiders in the place market, but Jonbon just a little bit uneasy now, out to heading towards 5 to 4 against.
Thanks then, Barry. OK, over to Bruce Millington. I'm delighted you're in today. Do the calling, my man.
Do you normally do it when I'm not here?
I sort of throw it around a little bit, but I do, yeah. I have to take that anchor as well, would you believe it?
OK, fair enough.
Are you doing the top one, Bruce?
I'll do whatever you like. I mean, if G-Rod likes to have a go,
he does like to have a go,
don't you?
We could
Cross
do what
country,
they do.
that was your favourite,
Cross-country
wasn't it?
We should warm up for the national, shouldn't we?
They jumped the 6
Over
last
to Graeme
about 8
Rodway
times.
All right, good night.
wedges.
Over
Right,
to
we're
Bruce
off and
then.
running then for day 2 of the Aintree Grand National Meeting, and the first to show is Salamanca Bay. Salamanca Bay over from Ireland leads up early doors from Okun Risk, and on the inside Jonbon, who's gone a lot more sensibly than he did at Cheltenham. In 4th, tucked in on the rails there, is a different kind. And then in 5th, we've got First Street. After that, we've got El Fabiolo. And then out the back, the last 3 are, let me see now, Ide from Vina Ardanza and Surprise Package. All jumping okay. What's the Fav doing in the market now, Bazza?
Nothing really, Bruce. He's just 206 now, having been 240. He's a Betfair SP at 218. He's 206. He's travelling well in himself. The one in front, they're going a sensible gallop. One in front is 55 in running. Outside of that, First Street 5.862 Al Fabio, but nothing to report in running just yet.
Anything catch your eye, Keithy?
Jonbon, given the pace they're going, I thought Jonbon might have been freer than he is, and he's not particularly. So I would be encouraged if I
He's
backed
settled
him.
beautifully, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I think I'm a bit surprised that he's not gone a bit shorter than that so far.
Yeah, I
in the
agree. I
market.
think he should. I would have tightened him up to evens or a wee bit shorter, given the way he's settled.
I'd be worried about
I
surprise
don't think he
package.
paused Jonbon. I thought one of the great things about Jonbon was that he just was very straightforward and travelled and jumped well.
Well, he's a buzzy sort, isn't he? And Hendo said pre-festival that we expect him to sweat up. What about your one, G-Rod? You can see why he wears the hood.
Yeah, he's just a little bit free, so just got him in deep to a hurdle there, Nico. I don't know whether that was by design
You're
to
wobbling.
try and just I mean he's not going as well as Jonbon, but then Jonbon travels like a good horse, doesn't he? What's he going to find though?
They're heading out onto the back straight and they're doing 31 miles an hour, so it's a decent clip on drying ground. Sun beating down on
Looked to have quickened
Merseyside.
here. They looked to have stepped on the gas a little
Yeah, they
bit.
do, don't they? He's really going to rattle up front, and Jonbon moves to cover that. Don't want to. He's only a rag this one, this Salamanca Bay, but they don't want to give him too much leeway. Okun Risk is going well on the outside. Jonbon in third. In fourth place, we have El Fabiolo, and then we've got First Street, and then we've got on the inner a different kind. They're followed by Ide, and then a surprise package is giving them a fair bit of.
He is. I think he's in trouble.
Fair bit
Actually.
of room. That's not very encouraging. What price is he now? Surprise? Yeah, he's popped.
He wouldn't have run on ground like this, probably.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, he
He
did.
jumped
is.
the last 3 hurdles at all. He's been very sticky at them, very novice. The favourite 174 now and going shorter all the time.
El Fabiolo's right on his back, Bruce.
Yeah, and Vina Ardanza, Keith's fancy, has just latched onto that front group of 7 now, and he's going quite nicely. So they're beginning that long sweep into the home turn. Is there 3 in the home straight, Aintree? I think
Yes,
there is.
there is, yeah.
Yep.
And it is still Salamanca Bay on the inside. Is Jonbon on the outside. We've got Okun Risk in fourth. In the double green, we've got El Fabiolo on the inside. We've got a different kind. First Street is trying to cling on to them.
Who's on the favourite?
And latching on nicely. Menacingly
on?
indeed. Davy Russell and Vina Ardanza.
Who's on short enough,
The
I'd
stage
say.
is set.
He's travelling,
Jonbon
isn't he?
is tucked in
He's still in
nicely in third.
He's got a beautiful sit in
And in
and he
actual
goes to the
fact, I'll
inside.
tell you what, Surprise Package is trying to get
He
there.
is,
He's
I tell you
giving
what,
himself
yeah.
half a chance. They jump 3 out. Bad jumps
he's
to
gone.
go Bay unseen.
El
Salamanca Bay.
Fabiolo
That
hampered.
leaves Okun Risk in front, but
Davies
Jonbon's
the
going
danger,
well
I
in
think.
second. Vina Ardanza is going well in behind. Jonbon takes it up. There's a huge run between
This
the
is
last 2
over.
obstacles. Jonbon in front. Challenged by El Fabiolo.
Whoa.
Jonbon from El
He's tying up a
Fabiolo.
bit.
He's in
Jonbon's
trouble.
going all right. He's not really got after him
beating
so
you, isn't he?
far, Aidan.
He's
in
tying
trouble.
up a
Jonbon
bit.
now is going to
He
get
wins.
headed over the last by
Oh,
El Fabiolo,
bonus
but he's
mistake.
fighting back. Jonbon and El Fabiolo, the front 2 in the market,
man.
are going to fight it out. Jonbon's
Hard
got
work.
the rail.
This is proper
El
defence.
Fabiolo's
Hard
coming
work.
up in the outside. It's very close.
he's
Jonbon
gonna
is
get done.
game in front.
Jonbon's won.
Jonbon's
Oh, no,
still
he's gonna
just
get
about
done.
to
Just
get
gonna
very,
get
very close. Jonbon by a neck. Jonbon just about takes it out from El Fabiolo. Long way back to... Who's that?
Ardanza.
Is that... Is
Go on,
it
Mel.
VR Danza's third, yeah.
Okay, there you go. Well,
beat
brilliant
First Street in the
finish.
fourth.
Fantastic finish. The front 2 in the market slugged it out. And fair play to Jonbon. He got eyeballed, but he had enough in the tank. Good race, that, wasn't it?
Great call, Bruce. And I thought we were headed for another dead heat at that point. It was Pied Piper Night Salute Mark II, Barry. Thankfully, they kept a straight line this time.
Yeah, he's really strong on a maiden Coleman and had that rail, and it seemed to make all the difference. He only traded at a high of 8.8 for small money on the Betfair Exchange. There was 34 or 24 quid done at 8.0, which is 7 to 1. Fabio traded at a low of 1.14, so 7 to 1 on. Fabio 939 quid done at 7 to 1 on. They pulled a long way clear of the third horse, who was Via Ardanza. But Betfair SP at 2.18 was a little bit uneasy in the market at the finish, you'd have to say, about the winner, Jonbon. But yeah, he showed a real good constitution there.
He's a bit unlucky there, the second, isn't he? How we went that low?
Is he?
Well, yeah, well,
he got hampered.
He did get hampered.
Yeah.
Yeah. The third got wiped out in the last
He had
3
to
flights.
sidestep him a
Who's
bit.
watching that and thinking, oh, this 7's on shot's fantastic?
This I don't know.
was a
Did
point-
you say? I think you said he got headed.
It's
Didn't
about
you?
here. He's going to win
Got
here, isn't
headed
he?
there, yeah.
Yeah, he should be. I'm surprised
He's
it's
got a
7's
neck
on.
up on him.
This is
He should have the 3's on there, shouldn't he?
This is great to see if you're a Jonbon fan, because you know now that there's no constitution issues with this chap, is there? That
the
is
only
as brave
issue,
as it
the only
comes.
constitution issue he's got is constitution
Is the hill.
It's going to beat him every time. he
Well,
makes
he's
it.
going fencing, this bloke,
Keels
isn't
must
he?
be absolutely delighted with that. He has got Jonbon as his nap of the festival next year for the Turners. And that, that horse, he's put his head down there, he's settled, he's shown the speed and he's shown a bit of professionalism. It's a great trial for going chasing next year because he's not going to beat Constitution Hill.
Jonbon wins the opener then. JP McManus has a 5th win in the last 10 years. And this is the route that Nicky takes. My tent or yours, Darlan. What was the other one? Bouvardere, of course. It suggests Champion Hurdle, but with Constitution, there's only one way he's going, isn't there?
Well, absolutely. Constitution Hill, you assume, stays Champion Hurdle and this horse goes chasing.
And on that evidence, 2 mile 4 and fences is a beautiful thing next season.
Yeah, he'd be fine with he could win the Arkle, but he'd be just as you'll stay a bit further, I think.
I still don't think he's that good, Dave, to be honest.
Well, how are you feeling? Because
I'm still. I mean, he's made.
do you
hard
think
work
that
of
second
you know.
horse is not that good?
I mean, the second's made a horrendous mistake at the last. Probably would have
Horrendous
beaten him.
What are you on about?
Probably
No, he
would
has.
have-
He
prob-
was. He
probably
wasn't.
would have beaten him.
wasn't
wouldn't
What do
he?
you mean, a horrendous mistake?
Wait a minute, no, but the second's made a mistake at the last. He has made a mistake.
And then he's
He's
had
gone
to use-
past him,
he's
and
had to
Jonbon's
use-
then got past him again. I
He's
think.
had to use petrol to get past him, and he's got outstage.
Are you suggesting this actually we're getting a bit carried away with Vino Ardanza all that way back in 3rd, that this isn't a very strong race?
Yeah, I don't think it's a very strong race.
Vino Ardanza, to be fair to him,
mean,
would have
for-
been a bit closer had he not been
He
wiped
got
out at the 3rd
hammered.
last. He got really badly hammered at the 3rd last. He wasn't fluent 2 out and he wasn't fluent at the last. But for that, he's probably 6 lengths better.
Whoever's analysing that race will be writing El Fabiolo was probably the moral winner there because of the
I
hampering.
guarantee you that El Fabiolo is not among Willie Mullins' best novice hurdlers for sure. And First Street has massively underperformed. He's beaten down the back straight.
Well, that's the glasses that you've got on. Looking
Why
at
do
the
you
race.
say that? Why do you say that, G Rod? He's won a maiden in Tranmore and he stepped into Grade 1 company and has just touched off in a Grade 1.
Because I don't
El
think
Fabiano.
I think the history tells us Willie Mullins doesn't run his best novices at Aintree.
Yeah, but I told you he was injured. He
Yeah,
had a cut, so he couldn't run at Cheltenham.
Let's go
But his
through
best
that.
ones would go to Punchestown.
He's
not
never
Aintree.
won this race, Willie. He's had 4 runners in the last, so he doesn't actually always turn up in it. He's had 4 runners in the last decade. 3 have placed, so now 5 and 4 for places.
Yeah, so they wouldn't be his best.
Nicky's having a good week though again, isn't he?
Townham was telling everyone it was his best ride of the week, apparently.
Yeah,
Was he?
that's what Ruby said, wasn't it? Aramon runs
Probably
in
tells
this
you a
race.
lot about what he's riding this week.
God, some of the horses that have won this race over the years, it's hard to think about.
It's a very good race.
Lalor won the race. Ping Shoe, do you remember him? Sirius Darius
Yeah.
never really went on. Justice Hill was the other
A
one.
lot of these entry races are like that. You get either monsters winning it, or you get how the bloody hell did that win? You've got like Chief Dan George that won the Sefton one year, and
Yeah.
horses like that. I looked at the Mellington chase, and you've got horses like Boston Bob got his Grade 1 in that.
All I'm saying, is if El Fabiolo turns up at Punchestown in a couple of weeks and turns up against Sir Gerhard, who thinks he's going to give Sir Gerhard a race? I certainly don't.
No, I mean, you have got a point. And looking at, and actually having gone through the list of Willie's runners, you're talking about, well, Petit Mouchoir would be the best that he's running it. And that got beaten a neck by Bouvardere. Limini back in 3rd. They were the places. Aramon as well. And Aramon was 4th in the Supreme from memory.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, Jonbon is clearly a smart prospect and he's an exciting horse going forward, but he isn't an absolute champion.
I still
I get what you're saying there, because he's probably not run to anything better than the low 150s there, and he gets hyped up like he's a massive thing, but he's going to keep developing. So I think he's a top class prospect. He's not even the best horse.
Where does he rank in the novice hurdlers in Britain and Ireland now? Is he above Sir Gerhard Jonbon or is he below Sir Gerhard? He's definitely below Constitution Hill. We know that. But where does he come in the ranking order?
Let's get a social up. MI, who's been with us so far this week, says El Fabiano headed Jonbon, had his chance. Jonbon out-battled him. Barry, I suppose we're going to, with our anti-post hats on, we'll be getting quotes for the Arkle, will we?
Yeah, he's unchanged at 7 for the Arkle and 5 from 6 for the Turners.
The Turners. All right, I think that's where I'd be going. But he's Nicky, isn't he?
But
You don't really know.
Hendo tends to keep him to the minimum trip.
He does,
doesn't he?
he does. And it's no bad thing staying 2 mile 4 in that race, is it? So,
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Less jumps as well over 2 miles, isn't there? I always think that,
You suggesting he's not going to jump fences?
No,
now,
I'm
is
just saying that, if you're giving a horse experience, maybe just start them off over 2 because you have to jump less. and
Before we move on, the question that everyone wants to know out there, is Jonbon still the most overrated horse in training?
Yes.
I think we thought we would get that answer from the great G Rod. Welcome along if you're just joining this Friday party. Myself, Dave Orton, thrilled to be joined by Bruce Millington, Graeme Rodway, Keith Melrose and Barry Orr as well. Jonbon wins the first. Some crazy Twitter spikes, weren't there, about whether he was going to actually turn up or not this week. Well, he has, and I hope lots of you took a view that he would just win. Showed great constitution there, didn't he? And looks like it'll be fence as well. Any eye catchers there before we move on? I mean, Auchenrisker's run all right, isn't he?
Yeah, well, we knew that about that. He was second best behind the Gary Moore horse at Cheltenham.
He's a good handicapper, Auchenrisker, isn't he?
He basically is, yeah. Had things shaken out a bit differently. He might have run well in a Swinton or in the traditional jockeys race even on this card. He's that sort of horse.
He might even still go to a Swinton. It's only about 2 weeks away.
What will his mark be now? Will he be? He could be. If he's mid 130s, it could be worth a go. He's that. We should. It's something that the Irish do an awful lot better than the British actually in terms of sending their novice hurdlers into these handicaps. British hurdlers do it for the Betfair Hurdle and not a lot else. We should be doing more of it.
Okay, all right. One race down then. We've got, although a small field coming up for the next, perhaps one of the races of the season?
Yeah, I'd say that, yeah. It's fantastic.
It's
Can't wait for this one.
It's the Mild May.
Considering these are all novice chasers, it's absolutely astounding how much history they've got with each other.
Does anyone on the panel love Aintree more than Cheltenham? Lots of people have been...
Dave.
A few people have been saying to me, Batch said it yesterday, I've spoken to a few other racing professionals who are like, this is the one.
No.
I would rather go to the Thursday of Aintree over 3 of the 4 days at Cheltenham.
No.
You mean every other day bar the Tuesday?
I know, I want to go to Friday. I want to see the Gold Cup.
You'd like to go to the Scrum, wouldn't you, just for the Gold Cup, of course?
Yeah, I want to see the Gold Cup, yeah.
The Tuesday's not for you. That's a weird one.
Well, it's Champion Hurdle Day, isn't it? And it's not so much my thing as the Gold Cup.
Murphy AJ says, here we go. G-Rod bringing the sunshine and giggles to proceedings. Quite right, Murphy. Did you meet him in Ireland?
Deadly serious.
Oh, can't be saying that.
Why not?
Just tell Murphy, he must be Irish.
Well, it must be AJ. Where are you watching from, AJ? Let us know. You do meet quite a lot of our community, don't you? They come up to you now for photos and stuff.
No, it's great. Yeah,
It's not just Bruce and
Do
Barry.
you get recognised?
Yeah, I love a chat. You know that, Bruce. I love a chat, particularly about racing.
Do you remember when Ed Whittaker took you to, was it Huntingdon?
Oh, at Huntingdon a couple of weeks ago.
And where did he make you have your photo?
And he decided that I should have all my pictures taken in front of the toilets for some reason. I don't really know. He was like, we'll just go here in front of the toilets. And all these fellas are trying to get to the toilet, to and from the toilet. And he's trying to take my picture in between them.
Inside the toilet or
no, just outside. It had a white wall outside.
I see, white wall,
But all these people were trying to squeeze past, and they were all sort of going,
it's embarrassing, man.
Give us a good pose,
and
G-Rod.
He gives it all that,
Well, you know
like
Ed
a
better than
fashion
most.
model. But come on there, that's
Do you think he saw this on his roster a couple of weeks in advance and went, my chance to get G-Rod? Let's get him by the gents. And imagine if you're walking into the gents at Huntington, you'd be like double taking, wouldn't you? Because the golden boy's there himself.
Yeah, and the best thing is that he complained to me afterwards. He took all these pictures and he said, "Oh, you made me miss this great shot that I was waiting for half an hour." That was his last parting words to me. I was like, oh, thanks, Ed, bye.
He won't be going back then, yeah, right.
Brilliant.
Quite, all right.
Yeah,
Brilliant stuff. We're having some fun then, Barry. This has been an active market. Betfair ambassador Paul Nicholls had his day in the sun, thank goodness, with Clanders Oboe yesterday. You were all over that. Are you going in after your natter with him this week on Brave Man's Game?
Yeah, he seems very sweet in it indeed, Dave. Currently favourite now at 2.28, which is 9-4. La Hump Presse 2.72. 6-6 Ahoy Senior and 20 Fury Road. I think the play here is to lay the favourite. I thought Farak Dalan was going to put it up to him in Cheltenham before coming down at the second last, and her horses have been running dreadfully. She hasn't had a winner since Cheltenham, Venetia Williams. And like you said, I think Brave Man's Game he's gonna have a target on his back here, La Presse, for Brave Man's Game. Ahoy Senior will set out and try to make it, and Fury Road will be there to pick up any leftovers as well. So at 7-4, I think the play in the exchange here is to lay La Presse. And we're going to set our own odds here, please, Keith. We're going to select the lay at 2.72. So you go to the lay section, bring it down to 2.72. We're looking to take 50 quid of the backer stake for a liability of around 85 quid. And that'll go over into the lay section, into the blue box for someone to come in and back that with us. We're a layer of La Presse at 2.72.
All right, thank you very much.
We've been taken.
Yeah, I think I'm with this. This is my nap. Let's get that out of the way. Brave Man's Game. it summed up the Wednesday for me. Do you remember that? It was just so weird.
Yeah.
We were together, weren't we, Bruce? Do you remember? We were like, what's going on? And Willie Mullins ends up having more winners than Nichols had runners at the meeting. You know, strange times. This was the first one, obviously, to come out. He's done the right thing. Let's just celebrate this horse. He's been magnificent for me all the way through the season. He's running handicap company. He started at Newton Abbott in October. He's the best novice chase jumper I've seen in a long time. Some people would say Long Press at Cheltenham might have that, but he seems to go both ways. Her being Venetia's runners, they didn't really perform yesterday. Barry's right. I'm no surprise at this chap's favourite. Paul's got has won this with, Silviniaco, Conti, Safi Dureur was the other.
It's why we still love Nichols, this horse. The adventurous way he's been campaigned, the way he jumps, the way he's transferred that physique into jumping like an absolute stag over fences.
Hold on. There's nothing adventurous about taking your horse out of the Cheltenham Festival race 2 hours before and then complaining about watering. That's not adventurous as far as I'm concerned.
Nichols wanted to run him here all the time anyway, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Nichols always, that was an excuse for them to run him here.
There was this
Nichols always wanted to
pre-Christmas
run him here.
tussle we heard about between Brian Drew and, of course, Mr. Lawrence, John Dance himself. We spoke to John on one of the shows you do, and we said, and he was like, well, I think I'm a big advocate of there's nothing wrong with finishing second to the best horse in training. I don't mind it. You know, there's lots of other prizes we can get. This 1-1-1 obsession that we have with these horses is perhaps a bit British, isn't it?
Terrible.
And yet he didn't run, but look, he was there. He was going to run, wasn't he? So he's obviously done the right thing. Are we all over this?
I don't think you can be all over anything in this race. I don't see how. I know you're very bullish on Brave Man's, but I mean, is it a form argument or simply the fact that he didn't have a hard race very recently on hard ground?
It's a bit of everything. I still think he's the best horse in this race. A lot of people think it's Long Press.
That's
I
a
don't.
bold one.
I think Brave Man's Game is better than Long Press.
I mean, that the form of his last run's really taken some hammer, hasn't it?
He
Pat's
gave him
Fancy got
nearly
laps in the
2 stone,
National
didn't he?
Hunts chase, and
It was a great for me.
Grumpy Charlie was miles off.
I loved the placing there. Do you remember, Barry, when we did the Racing Post Live Extra on the Monday and you teased us that Brave Man's Game might be getting an entry at Newbury, and we were like, is he going to run in the Game Spirit? And it was a marvellous thing to see him in that novice handicap, wasn't it?
Sorry, Dave. Yeah, it certainly was.
I served you up a award-winning question there.
Yeah, it was a good thing to do, wasn't it? It was good for racing as well, and the field stood up too. Usually, if he was going to run in one of the conditions races, there only maybe been 2 other runners, but he lumped the weight. It was interesting because everyone was wondering when he came off the bridle, was there going to be much there? Because few people had questioned in Haydock if he had been taken off the bridle that day, would he have found a whole lot? But he was in Newbury and he did find plenty. He found plenty when he came under pressure, which was encouraging to see as well. I think there always was a niggle and doubt about Cheltenham for Paul in terms of the track. He never really thought Cheltenham was going to suit him. So I think on the day it was an easy enough decision in that he always had one eye on Aintree, hadn't he? Nichols from a long way out. I think he was working back from this race all season, if the truth be told. But I think this track is really going to suit him, and we know it's well documented how good of a jumper he is as well. So, yeah, it's a cracking race. You don't even have to have a bet in it to really enjoy watching a race of this standard.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of people. You're right, Barry. Quite right. Sit back, open a bottle, and just enjoy the great fruits of our jump season in this race. But look at that social there, and this is the Bruce Millington, the star of BBC's Pointless. You're never going to figure that was. I mean, even mine.
I got done at 1:01.
Well, there was a smidge of controversy about this.
They stopped filming for 5 minutes while they decided what to do. It was ridiculous.
I would have paid.
Still not got over it.
You and your daughter did it, didn't you? Of course. Your hair was locked down.
This fella needed a pointless answer to eliminate us, and it was countries not in Asia that begin with A, S, I, or N, right? And he said Swaziland. And I thought, great, I'm in here because Swaziland's not called Swaziland anymore. What's it called, Keith?
Oh, dude, I forgot.
It's called Eswatini. Okay, so I'm thinking this is good, and then the producer comes and goes, "We're just going to break in filming for a bit. And they had a massive stewards, and I thought, right, well, they're either going to say, look,
Is that how they do it? Just have a
here?
cup of tea or something? Is that what they
No,
say?
we all waited around for 3 or 4 minutes, and then he goes, Alexander, what's his face, goes, okay, we're back again. And I thought, well, if this starts going down, we're done for. And sure enough, he goes, you said Swaziland, it's like, oh, we're done for. And it was a pointless answer because it's not a country anymore.
And so you should.
So we got done.
You were gubbed.
We were literally 101. It was ridiculous.
Well, I bet the car journey home. Did you drive there? I'm assuming you did.
We drove all the way around for its. Is it Elstree, isn't it? Near Boreham Wood. And we drove. I said to Daisy, I said, "It's still a good day, wasn't it?" She goes, "No, ridiculous." She was fuming.
having all worked with Bruce as editor,
He's
we can imagine that car journey was not one you wanted to take part in at all. Whereas the rest of us were like, it's absolutely great. And there was a rerun of it the other day because my in-laws, they were like, Bruce is on Pointless again. I said, I think it's a rerun, I can tell by the barnet.
My daughter was down the gym, she was on the treadmill, and Pointless comes
No.
up. Oh, God, damn it.
Painful reminder. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so you're right, absolutely. Now, okay, getting backed. Dan the man, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fact that Venetia's ran bad yesterday makes long press an extremely attractive. Hang on, the fact that Venetia. Oh, right, I see what you mean. An extremely attractive price because
everyone gets
ignore
obsessed. Everyone gets obsessed with one-day form, don't they?
Yeah. Okay. Go through. Yeah. Oh, it's a two-parter from Dan the Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like it. To go through that ground at Cheltenham with plenty in hand is a huge run. How much did he have at the end? Keith Melrose in the Proud Advisory.
Ran right through the line, didn't
when he beat Ahoy Senor, of course.
He did beat Ahoy Senor. Now, Ahoy Senor can't jump. And every time the pace went...
Can't jump.
He jumps, but every time the pressure got cranked up a little bit in the Brown Advisory, he made a mistake.
You won't be doing the Lucinda Stable Tour, will you, anytime soon?
I'll be telling him, look, you've got a monster here, but he needs to jump better.
What if he does jump well? What if he puts a clear round in today?
He might win.
He might win,
He's a
mightn't he?
monster.
Yeah.
Really, really talented horse.
Yeah.
Well, of course, he beat Brave Man's Game at the meeting last year when he was it 100 to 1 he won it. It was 66 to 1. They backed him in, that's right, just towards the end. We covered that show, of course, and this is a reverse, isn't it? Brave Man's Game had been at Cheltenham, had placed, and now he was coming in cold, Ahoy Senor.
He's solid in the market, Dave, Ahoy Senor, isn't he? 6.2, I mean, he's,
I'm pretty sure the track had something to do with it at Cheltenham. Charlie Post had been banging on all year. I haven't seen him in his
That's complete
points.
nonsense, that. He was in trouble coming down the hill, and he came up the hill very
do you not
strongly.
think that's because of the course?
Didn't he?
He made a mistake
made a really bad
at a
mistake.
very important time. I think it was the third
got
last.
beat 3.5 lengths.
Yeah.
When he won the
Coming back.
Towton, he wasn't great, was he? And when he won at Newbury the time, it
He's
was warm up.
He's not a great jumper, but he's got an amazing engine.
Is he going to get the lead here?
Yeah, I think he'll lead.
I think he'll probably lead.
It depends what they do with Brave
Don't
Man's
forget
Game.
when they met, of course, at Kempton.
Start, he led.
And Brave Man's Game was so good getting a lead.
Yeah, but he didn't go hard enough in that race.
No, he didn't.
at
That's the
Kempton.
thing. I think this is why the Kettle Star's a key bit of form for this race, because Brave Man's Game did Ahoy Senor for speed in that race, and Brave Man's Game is a speed 3-miler.
Yeah.
So if they don't go hard and they all turn and face 3 out together, there's only one winner. I think that's Brave Man's Game. But if it turns into a proper 3-mile race, the best horse probably wins, and I think the best horse is Long Press.
Yeah, I think 3-1 is very much in Long Press's favour here.
I've put up Brave Man's Game as my tip in this one with no great conviction. It has been a no-bet race for me. Long Press, the record of the RSA is a hard race for novices, and it is one of those Cheltenham races that maps very poorly to this, which is its Aintree sister race. I do think Long Press is a better horse than Brave Man's Game. I was going to take you to task for that one.
I don't.
But Brave Man's, it's a little bit of a moot point because they're different horses. Long Press, is he going to run on a King George? He possibly will. Brave Man's Game's season next year is all about the King George.
Can we agree that Venetia and Paul are quite similar with their campaigning? They don't mind running their horses, do they, is what I mean?
No, not. There's differences, but there's
Apart from
definitely...
the fact that Nichols minded running it at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
He took the half, didn't he?
He's put a bit of pressure on himself there, hasn't he, with the connections?
Well, he has.
Well,
Because he would have said, look, his get out to the owners would have been, look, you've all come down for the day, you've had a lovely lunch, I'm pulling the horse out, but don't worry, it's
We
all
chatted about
Aintree.
this on yesterday's show, and Barry and me had a word about it with Batch and Parky, who was great yesterday, and we all said that, absolutely that. Paul has put lots of pressure on him for this.
And it's not only that he'll be getting beaten, he's probably, if he gets beat, he's going to get beat by horses who ran in that race on heavy ground and then came out and beat him 2 weeks later after having a supposedly hard race
This
on
must
heavy
be
ground.
hurting your head, this. Because at the start of the season, you puffed your chest out, didn't you, for Brave Man's Game? Like you were the number one fan club.
No. I said that he was a better horse over fences than Bob Ollinger, which I still believe is true.
10 out of 10 was
I
the
still
word.
believe that is true. However, I don't think he's a better horse than Long Press. I think Long Press is the best novice chaser over 3 miles in Britain, without a doubt. And I think
Forward to him in Gallopan next year.
yeah, it's going to be a cracking race. I think Ahoy Senor is the second best horse in this race. I only have Brave Man's Game third in out of 4, so I couldn't. There's no way I could have him. Well, I've left this race alone for one reason. And this is going to be a theme over the weekend. I really dislike backing horses coming off hard races on really testing ground, which it was that day at Cheltenham. It absolutely hacked it down. And I've seen too many horses, particularly at this year's Cheltenham Festival, we saw a few, who have a hard race on heavy ground. Then they turn out next time out and they just don't show. Shishkin, Tehupu, Hillcrest, they have a hard race on heavy ground, then they're just not able to back up that form. If Lompress turns up and runs the same race he wins at Cheltenham, he will definitely win. Absolutely no doubt about it. But I think there's a serious doubt about whether he does that, because he definitely had a hard race at Cheltenham, and so did Ahoy Senor in the same race. In which case, Brave Man's Game is then the most likely winner. But who's to say if Ahoy Senor and Lompress are both soured by that hard race? Who's to say Fury Road couldn't win?
I mean, with this, they're closely enough matched on form that you've got to look for another edge if you want to have an opinion. You don't have to have an opinion.
Could Fury Road not win?
Well, could we get to Fury Road after I've just said that the big thing is backing up what you say here. If there's not much between them on form, the fact Brave Man's hasn't had that slog in the Brown Advisory has to make a difference. I agree with the lads. I don't think Brave Man's is the best in the race, but I don't think he's far off the best, and he should have a massive freshness advantage here. So I've gone tentatively with Brave Man's Game. That wasn't really worth interrupting you, was it?
That's another chip on the table, but it's working out, that. It's working out.
The thing with Fury Road is he obviously can't win, but say Lompress and Hoyson, you're both had hard races at Cheltenham and don't show, then you've only got one horse to beat.
Can I give you some stats for this? Some stats for this. Adjusted RPR, which you find on your Members Club race cards, of course, are at last, of at least 170. The only one that doesn't do that is Fury Road. He's slightly shy of that, isn't he? 8 of the last 10 winners had run at the Cheltenham Festival. So I would wager that Safir Derur might not have been one of those one of Nichol's previous winners.
Also, Dave, this race is quality-only horses need apply. The biggest price winner in the last 10 years is Native River at 11-2. So
who went on to win a Gold Cup.
Exactly.
Mike Bite was also in there.
But also Native River, he had run in the 4 miler.
Yeah.
We're talking about hard races coming into it. Native River, I mean, he was made of metal.
He's probably, I mean, obviously the race distance being reduced, but the 4 miler now is becoming a breeding ground for classy animals, isn't it?
It's a repechage for the RSA now, isn't it, or the Brown Advisory? It's lost its identity a little bit, unfortunately. But,
well, you say that, but I mean, Statler was brilliant. I mean, Statler could be really good.
Had that race hadn't existed, all 6 of those horses, or 5 of them, would have run in the Brown Advisory, made it an even better race.
We're going to get top 4 picks for the Grand National. 5:15 tomorrow. We warmed up plenty. Matty Batch gave us his. Tom Park gave us his as well. Parky put cloth cap on top.
On top?
On top. I thought are you still with this project?
Well,
I'll be back to him at Christmas.
I know. We've had you on the show saying this has been the plan all along. You know, the handbrake is off for the national.
66 to 1 he
got
was
a tongue tied.
at
But we
Christmas.
will be getting Bruce, who's not joining us tomorrow, or G-Rods on the big day. So we want to hear from your top 4. We'll go in reverse order if you don't mind.
Are we doing it now or after this race?
Oh, I think we do one of them now, shall we? I think
okay, let's do one now and one after.
You've just given one of yours away. Have you given your top one away?
No.
Go on then. You go first. I'll go after.
What am I going for 4th?
4th, please.
Santini.
4th place. Santini, 4th place in the 2022 Grand National. Why?
Because he's a good horse, isn't he?
Come on, elaborate for me.
Quite a lot of depth with that. That's a lot of data to throw at us there. You know, can you simplify it?
Remember when Neil Warnock came on and said, why did Paddy Kenny go fighting in Halifax? He's thick, isn't he?
He's been in this studio, Paddy Kenny.
Yeah,
In lockdown. He was sitting in the office. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Well, he did finish second in the Gold Cup, and he
With
probably.
Paddy Kenny.
So are you
Santini.
doing a piece in the paper tomorrow? Santini can finish 4th in the Grand National by Graeme Rodway. Well, he's a good horse, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Just a good horse, isn't he?
Well,
Page drawers dream.
Do you like that? All right, let's help you out a bit here, and the viewers as well. Do you like the back class in the National? Is that something you look for? A very well handicapped on back class form?
Not really, no. I just
Going well, isn't it?
I just think that.
You never know what you're going to get with him, do you? He's been to Ireland, look, he's sulking, he's had to come back.
Well, I just think that you know, he's one of the best horses in the race. It's simple, isn't it?
Oh, Barry, what are you making of all this? Help me out. Santini, what is he on the sportsbook, Barry?
He's a 40-1 chance on the sportsbook. You want to start now? Big old slow boat that he is.
Oh, that's it. Another head. You know, head-to-head with Barry and you don't go well historically.
I'm going to sort of push against that a little bit because the Gold Cup he finished second and was very slowly run. He had to show a little bit of toe to get in that race.
You teased you were coming round to him, didn't you?
Yeah, he might turn up in my 4 tomorrow. Yeah, he might not. We don't know yet. He is on the premises for me, but I've been watching him this season. He actually does look like he's retained an awful lot of his ability. The run behind Commodore, he was plainly unfit. He was second to Chantry House in the Cotswolds, and he was still in the Gold Cup until he made a massive mess of 4 out. So the 153 gives him a big chance. He might be in my 4, you know.
Ooh. Santini in your top 4 teased Bruce Millington, who finishes where Burrow Saint did last year, 4th place in this year's Grand National.
Run Wild Fred.
Talking of Statler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, forms linked in there. I just think normally I'm all over the Irish for this, but I'm actually not particularly. But I think he's the best of the Irish.
One of the magnificent 7, we're calling them for Gordon, aren't we? And
absolutely. But
the reserves have got him, by the way. That's the first thing we should say.
Yeah,
as well,
3 non-runners, haven't they?
Yeah, remarkable.
Yeah.
Ramiraj didn't, or the 4th one didn't.
Who did?
The 4th one.
3 of the 4 got in.
3 of the 4 got in.
I don't know if that's happened before, has it?
Don't think that can.
Who knows?
I think one year Walking the Mill got in as second reserve and then had to pull out. So maybe I have had 3 reserves in the past.
Anyway, they're in. So they always seem to fancy this horse. Davy Russell are going for a 4th Grand National?
I would imagine if he wins the Grand National, he'll retire directly afterwards.
That's got to be the case, Barry, hasn't it? If Run Wild Fed does take it out tomorrow, that's it for Davy.
Might even retire if he doesn't, or would he go to Punchestown?
I don't know. Barry?
I think if he won the Grand National, it's definitely something that could feature in the storyline. Davy retirement, and if he doesn't, probably the wagon will roll on to Punchestown, and if he gets a big winner there, I'm not sure, but it could potentially call it a day on his career, yeah.
I would think so. We were half thinking about whether Pied Piper was going to get it for him. He said he went too soon yesterday, didn't he? Anyway, that's Bruce's 4th. Run Wild Fred always seems to be well fancied. Got that second season. Novice, isn't he? Of course, that would put the cat amongst the pigeons, albeit a second season. And Santini, as Graeme Rodway, did you see the selection? They said, well, he's a good horse, isn't he? That's what we said up there. It's great to see the chat, by the way, so vibrant out there. There's a poll: who wins the Marsh Chase? That's, of course, Fakir Duderi. He's going for a second win in that. Loads of votes going in for that at 3:30. That's before we go to the Topham. Can't wait for that, the Mini National. And then we'll be finishing off as well with a really tasty handicap. Oh, no, it's the 3 Mile Grade 1. Sorry, not handicap.
Yeah, it's a Sefton. It was a Hoy Seniors race. I was sat in this very chair.
Yeah,
and,
MI says in the chat, G-Rod is racing version of Carl Pilkington.
Yeah, he is. That's a shout. That's a great shout. Yes.
Shave all your hair off. You look a bit more like Butterbean, I keep saying, if you ever did that. Here we've got Dan Ramira is out there as well. Danny Boy says, Lom, press up the winnings from Cheltenham. And I'm aligned with G-Rod. The freshness matters, says Murphy AG, your Irish pal out there coming back. There's lots of people. It's great. Listen, it's great you're out there. What a great time to be on planet Earth. So good to have the party carnival atmosphere back. Go back 12 months. It was a great show that we did, but the feel-good factor is here. This is why we get out of bed and do this show for you. Talking of shows, Barry, we've spoken, and what are they saying? Are they coming closer together now at all?
Yeah, not really. 246 now, Brave Man's game. 286 for Lompresse. Hoy Seniors come in for support. He's in a tick, was around 6.6. He's 5.3 now, and he's getting shorter all the time. Fury Road's another one coming in from support. Was 20 the last time we spoke. He's 15 now, so he's come in 5 points.
It'd be such a massive cat among the pigeons for the Gold Cup market next year if a Hoy Senior beat this lot fair and square.
Almost there, lads.
Yeah.
What a race this is.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I'm really looking forward.
Bruce, fill your lungs. Let's get the call. Good luck, everyone.
OK, so they are off and running for the Betway Mildmay Novices Chase. 3 miles and 1 the trip, and the first to go on is a Hoy Senior. They're coming up the home straight, and then they've got another lap. That's basically it, I think, isn't it? Or do they start off down the back?
2 laps.
Sorry, it's 2 laps, isn't it? Yeah, pardon me. So they jump what will be the second last, and then they do a couple of circuits. Very early days, but Ahoy Senior is setting the pace. On the inside is Lompresse. Right alongside him there is Brave Man's Game, and Fury rode him forth, and the big headline from that jump was that Ahoy Senior took a look at it and turned sharp right. He doesn't want to be doing that because the rail is on his left. He's going to give up a lot of ground. And what sometimes happens where the leader jumps a certain way, the others follow. Let's see how they got on it. This one, Ahoy Senor steadies into it. He's all right. He's fine. Not the greatest jump of Braveman's game's life.
He wants to go quicker, Braveman's game at the moment.
They all very steady pace, isn't it?
They all want to go quicker.
Very steady pace.
Braveman's in particular. And Derek Fox at the moment is doing what Derek Fox doesn't always do, Keith.
Well, Derek, he doesn't always lead, but I tell you, he never goes too soon, does he?
Well, I mean,
and he's not doing it yet.
There'll be plenty of people in the grandstands pulling. Out on the track, you'd have to say that Ahoy Senor is pulling a bit. He's just, it's a steady pace, but he's fighting Derek Fox for his head and using up energy. So I don't know about you, Keith, but I would say that this is, if you're marking any horse down so far, I'd say Ahoy Senor. And yet he's shortened in the market.
Yeah, well, it's because they go off in front, and that's what tends to happen. Whoever leads tends to shorten up a point or two on Betfair. For the initial stage. It's interesting now.
Going on with Fury Road there,
I think that was factored into the price, Keith, with a horse like this.
Yeah.
Is sure the pace angle, because he's trading at 4.7 and his Betfair SP was 4.76.
Well, that's why.
So he hasn't really shortened.
That's why he got back. That's why he got gambled in the last sort of 2 minutes before the off.
I think what happened, Dave,
was going to lead, wasn't
was for some reason Charlie Deutsch has decided to go to the outside of Ahoy Senor, which doesn't make any sense because Ahoy Senor's going to do that.
Ahoy Senor's
still
Harry
jump
Cobden
into the right.
No, Cobden went
came
inside.
across him because Cobden sussed what's going on with Ahoy Senor. He's jumping out to his right.
Absolutely.
Cobden doesn't want to get involved in any of that. He jumps out to the right again. Not markedly. I've seen worse, but I don't get Ahoy Senor shortening. He's pulling. He's jumping to his right. I don't think these are great signs for him.
It's the front runner thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but front runners generally, I think the Betfair market hates front runners generally.
Yeah, it's only Braveman's game that's shortened, Bruce, though. It's 208 Braveman's game.
Well, long press is 3.7 now. There's no evidence for that drift, is there, G-Rod?
No.
Have a think about it.
I suppose maybe people thought he was going to lead.
If Braveman's game isn't over the top this season, this is going to be something to watch in the home straight. He's going to hack up.
That's a big call.
Over the top.
Absolutely hack up. Well, it's just whether you don't know what's under the bonnet at the end of the season.
He won't be over the top.
You just
won't
don't
be over
know.
the top anyway, Jenny. He's the freshest of the lot of them.
Right, they jumped the first one in the straight, and it's still Ahoy Senor. They're still going very steadily. He's about 2 lengths clear on the inside is Braveman's game, on the outside is Long Press, and in fourth, watching and waiting is Fury Road. All over the next one, fine. They're all jumping okay. There hasn't been a massive wreck. The only issue has just been that Ahoy Senor has tended to jump out to his right at quite a few fences, but not all of them. It's not a complete disaster. I don't get Long Press price. I'm desperately trying to get the Wi-Fi up so I can back Long Press.
I'm not sure that Charlie Deutsch is. I'm not sure that Charlie Deutsch is all that happy with him. Actually,
why? What's he doing wrong?
I'm not sure. I don't remember him travelling quite this exuberantly early on. He's a really good settler normally. I'm not so sure.
Just a little injection.
What is everyone saying?
Yeah, well, now he has quickened it a bit.
Yeah, we need to. Fox is going to go down the back, isn't he? Fox should go down the back.
And this is what you think he didn't do at Kempton.
Yeah,
ding, 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 ding.
Absolutely what he did. It's absolutely what he didn't do at Kempton.
Do you think there should be a bell? That'd be a great idea.
They have one at Ascot when they turn in. But they should have a bell. Yeah, stop them going to circuit early at Fakenham.
Was he faking them?
He's retiring. We won't see that again.
Out onto the back straight now for the final time, and it is Ahoy Senor. And they do inject the pace. It nudges over the 30 miles an hour. Covering that move is Charlie Deutsch on the outside on Long Press. Inside, taking his time, Braveman's game, nice jumping. Fury Road's doing nothing wrong. Eyeballing. I don't get it. Long Press is a massive price.
Fury Road is going nicely.
He certainly is.
He'll have every chance, I think.
Odds on Braveman's game now.
He's jumping really well. As they've
He's
actually
cut every
quickened,
corner, isn't he?
He's jumped better as they've quickened as well.
Yes,
Long
he
Press
has.
wasn't that good there actually.
He was all right.
The one thing that Harry Cobden says about Braveman's game, when I think I'm going to meet her on stride, he puts me right. That's what he was so impressed with.
He's done it just there. Wait and you see this.
Oh, yes, there you go. That's exactly what they do.
What do you mean? Who was
he dived at that. Braveman's game dived at it.
What you were trying to get your lot on. Yeah.
Oh, no, I think he's in trouble, isn't he? Braveman's game.
Is he?
No.
In what sense?
No.
You're seeing things.
Is he going to get up the inside? You know, he's going to sit back. He's going to keep.
I do think there's a little bit of action from Charlie Deutsch there.
Jack Kennedy's just watching on nice and patient, isn't he?
He's trying to go with it.
He's in trouble, Braveman's game.
No, he's not. He's not in
niggle.
G-Rod could be right.
I think there's a wee niggle
In
there.
what sense?
Yeah, listen, it's
What
fine.
are you watching?
Here we go. Come on then, we're getting to the action.
I think
Is this
it goes
four
better.
out?
Oh, good one.
Clever
Right,
again
G-Rod.
from Brave
Okay,
Man's.
that was the cross
He's
fence,
beat
wasn't
Brave
it?
Man's game.
Right, okay, they're turning
Look
in
at
now.
Jack
Hoy
Kennedy's trying to
Senor
get him.
going well. Fury Road is on the premises
Still
here, my friends.
cruising, Brave
One
Man.
Brave
There's
Man's game
nothing
now.
between them. There's nothing
Three
between
to
them.
one,
As
Brave
they
Man's.
turn
That's
in
an
with 3
overreaction.
to jump.
Senior's
And
your favourite at
Long
11 to 10.
Press takes it up,
Press
or
is in
certainly
front.
comes up
He's in
alongside
front.
Ahoy Senor, jumping 3
Oh.
out. Those two are going. Well, Fury Road's flying.
Senor's cruising.
Fury Road is going as well as anything.
What a
here.
strange race to
I
watch.
tell you, there's only 2 links between. This is
He's
2
got
out.
plenty left,
Just taking him
Brave
really
Man.
Ahoy Senor's
wide.
back in
5 Ahoy
front
Senor.
from Long Press.
He's gonna
and
do it. Ahoy
Fury
Senor.
Road.
My
Brave
Lord.
Man's game is 4th and
Hello.
going nowhere. Ahoy
16 to
Senor's
1 on
flying.
Ahoy
Ahoy
Senor.
Senor's suddenly opened up. He's gone 3 or 4 clear
Yeah,
of Fury
killing.
Road. Long Press can't win. Brave Man's game can win. It looks like it's just the final fence that can stop Ahoy Senor winning. Here it comes.
Wow,
he's
over.
Here
Best
it is.
jump of the race.
Ahoy
Brilliant. Best
Senor
jump of the
back on
race.
his hunting ground.
good.
He's 4 or 5 lengths clear. Fury Road has run really well. The other two can forget it. And Ahoy Senor. And Derek Fox, his greatest ever moment at Aintree, was on one for Arthur, but that's his second greatest. He takes out the mile mate in impressive fashion on Ahoy Senor by 5 lengths from Fury Road. And pop go the reputations of Long Press and Brave Man's game.
We will get through the nickings and the pickings of that form and what the panel make of those bubbles bursting. I've got my opinions. I'm sure the other guys will as well. Is that an omen for Mighty Thunder 5:15 on Saturday? Last year's Scottish National winner for the connections of one for Arthur. Ahoy, Senor. And look, if the Gold Cup was run at Aintree, he'd be a short price fab, wouldn't he? We'll get to it, Barry.
Don't think
that,
he would be.
That must have been up and down, up and down, up and down, and away we go.
Well, interesting. Pre-race, he was matched at a high of 7.4. He's an SP, Betfair SP of 4.76. So he was really, really well supported, it has to be said, in the market. Brave Man's game, a low 1.92. I'm sure G-Rod would be a layer at that price all day long. 12 quid done at that, 90 quid at 1.93. Long Press hit a low of, didn't trade any shorter than it did pre-race in running Long Press. And Fury Road hit a low of 206. So just a little under 11 to 10 for Fury Road. 1,200 quid matched at 206 on Fury Road. But great ride from Derek Foxon. Just waiting for some reaction here for the Gold Cup. 8 from 20 for the Gold Cup. Ahoy, Senor.
Thank you, Barry. That was very quick off the buzzers there. This isn't a race that necessarily produces Gold Cup winners. We'll go through that.
I literally wrote in the post today that 3 of the last 5 winners placed in the following year's Gold Cup.
Like Native River,
No, he placed the following year. Yeah, he didn't win
Might Bite,
Might Bite.
Silvianico.
No, he's older than that.
Who is it?
Oh, I forget now, but
Yeah.
I wrote it.
So you're saying it can be?
It is,
All right,
yeah,
I
I
would
think
counter that with some of the other winners.
You got some
like
bad
Lost in Translation, Chantry House, Terrafall.
Look, he's other one.
Who, Lost in Translation
Yeah,
place?
he's- yeah,
Yeah,
starting
okay,
to go
fair
up
enough, he
the
did.
following year.
Dynast, Holywell.
He was 4th in the Gold Cup the following year. Sapphire Drew was 5th.
Oh, well, I wouldn't mind betting Ahoy Senor to finish 4th or 5th.
He might well. I mean,
he is that calibre of horse, isn't he?
He's a Gold Cup horse. If he can get jumping better, he still wasn't great
I
there.
still don't think that Cheltenham is the thing for him, but we'll get to that.
But what I
Immediate
would say
impressions. Let's go
is-
down let's go down. Brave Man's game. I said something in running that I think I'm going to stick to. That looked like he'd had too many runs. That's not the Brave Man's game that we know. We can't say he's run his race.
He was
talk, can
flat.
you?
He was definitely flat.
He's definitely flat. That struck of me of a horse that was wound up for Cheltenham.
Look at his form with the winner. It's not his true run,
It-
obviously,
it
from the
nowhere
run in
near.
the Cato Star at Christmas.
I wouldn't
but-
be surprised if we got a Bob Ollinger-like excuse coming out of this one.
Yeah, but there's no reason why he shouldn't have been at his peak today. I mean,
Yeah.
we spoke about this before the race. Barry said that this has been the plan the whole season. He's worked back from this the
Yeah.
whole season. So, and it's very rare when Mickles really plans out one and for it to run like that. So
When
maybe something's
Candizobo
not
won
right.
like that yesterday, I felt sure that Brave Man's game was going to take this out because I thought, right, they've got him where they want him.
The only thing to say is that he hasn't been trained specifically for this.
That's
He
the
was
worry.
trained for Cheltenham.
He
He
was.
didn't run in it, but he was still trained for it. And that in itself,
Yeah.
when you train and don't have the race, must present
You've
its
got
own
to let them down a bit again, haven't you?
challenge,
And then,
exactly, yeah.
exactly that. That's the sort of thing that on Monday you need to be asking Nichols about, Barry, how difficult it is to get these horses, and then when they don't turn up, you find another target, and away we go.
Yeah, it's a fair point, Dave. It's definitely a fair point. But like reading his blog on Betfair, he was very sweet on the horse today, and he thought he had him spot on.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
think there has to be some excuse for him. I think that run is too poor to be true. He's so far beaten by the winner.
I wouldn't be surprised if Barry was hoping for a day off on Monday, actually. It wouldn't be the sort of question I'd be asking. I'll tell you that much. Barry will get away with it, Keith.
It'd have been worse if he'd been a length behind Fury Road, I think. The fact he got beat as far as he did says you can write that one off. There was something wrong today.
Yeah.
We talked about why horses, shorten up when they're going to lead. That showed you a bit why Fox got to do all what he wanted all the way through that race because he got the lead.
Yeah.
And he dictated to them. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think that's a better ride than he gave Corach Rambler when that won the Ultima. That was a really, really good controlled ride. He knows the horse can't jump that well, so he let the horse stay in his comfort zone all the time and only maybe put the pressure on where he felt he could without compromising the horse's jumping. So great ride. And a real good demonstration of that horse's engine.
The one thing you do see about Ahoy Senor, and he's probably as good as any horse we've seen all season at doing this, the final fence jumps. There was a side-on shot that I saw that someone had taken on the rail at Wetherby. Woo! He absolutely leathered it.
He's still not a slow horse as well, Ahoy Senor. That Wetherby race, he finished. He was going up the straight 2 seconds a furlong quicker.
That's right, yeah.
You were suggesting in close quarters after the Brown advisory that maybe we might see a Stayers Hurdle prospect.
I was said that impishly, yes. I thought because his jumping's that bad.
You were being mischievous.
But again, the horse is engine better than jumping, and that's why I said it.
Oh, look at this. Droffheim.
hello.
Is that how I say it? Great name. Brave man's G-Rod.
I'm not sure that he's overrated, is he? How many people?
I've overrated him.
How many people?
No, I'm not
have
giving
said
up on him. That was
he
not the
best?
Brave Man's Game that we know and love.
No, how many people have overrated him?
People that compared him with Denman, mostly.
As in Paul.
I said before the race, I think that Long Press is a better horse than Ahoy Senor.
Well, he's finished. Let's go and move on to Long Press now. He's
That's a write-off. That's a Cheltenham hangover.
So he's had that was his 6th run of the season, right? And has been left behind.
Having had 4 runs in his life before.
He wasn't able. If you remember at Cheltenham, he was able to go past Ahoy Senor when he made that Horlicks and disappoint him. You can disappoint front runners, can't you? Like jocks always think it. The reason why
is dreadful as well. Dave.
I'll
take that into account.
Yeah, I mean. You're quite right. Everyone's talking about Gordon coming in, Barry. It's not great, is it?
Stable form.
Nichols.
Venetia. Yeah, a lot of them are not running near their marks, really.
But that was the classic way he shaped. It was the same way with Protectorate yesterday. That he comes into the race, he comes there to run his race and then jump 2 out, and then there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Because he's had that hard race at Cheltenham. Yes, he went through the line there. That doesn't mean it's not a hard race for horses.
A hard race.
I'd rather back Long Press to do a proper great run next season of Brave Man's Game, wouldn't you?
Well, that is a question I think a lot of people are asking us
Barry,
on the chat.
has there been an update on Long Press's price for the Gold Cup? Has he been pushed out?
Barry?
I don't know. I'll check for you now, Keith.
Because he was about 10s.
Well, he probably ought to have been. Do you remember straight afterwards when we were watching, Galopan fall, of course, and Bolivar, before we saw what A Plus Tard did?
12-1, Keith.
12-1.
That's about what he was before he started getting backed in, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was 10-1 chance beforehand.
I'm considering getting involved at that,
Yeah, I agree with you. It's easier to excuse that run than Brave Man's Game.
Yeah, and Long Press has got 2 really strong pieces of form at Cheltenham, which is where the Gold Cup is.
Yeah.
Makes you think about the Brown advisory, doesn't it? About all the winners and whether they've quite kicked on with it.
It's a hard race for novices because in the 4-miler it's amateurs and they sort of know that need to hold the horses back.
Top of the game, Monkfish.
But the Brown advisory, it's the Gold Cup, and you know how much the Gold Cup can leave a mark on horses. The Brown advisory very much is the Gold Cup, but for novices, and it's a really hard race for horses.
Yeah, something that's really caught my eye this week so far, just analysing the results, is that horses who have got really good figures at this track in the past have really come to the fore this week. So if you look at the novice chase yesterday, that was won by Miller's Bank, that ran a huge race last year at Aintree. I think it was in the race that Abracadabras won.
Oh yes,
he finished third.
Aintree Hurdle. Yeah, he was
the Aintree Hurdle, then suddenly he returned to Aintree, and he showed his best form yesterday. Come right back, showed his best. Later on the card, Clander Zobo, huge figure at Aintree last year, not really run to that sort of level, and then comes back to Aintree.
Courses.
And runs well.
Yeah, and this isn't just anecdata because Ian Burbeck, our new data journalist, he runs all the trials against each other. And when I looked at all the Aintree races, the previous year's renewal of that race has a really strong record. Aintree form informs Aintree form very, very well, at least as strongly as Cheltenham form informs Cheltenham form.
Hoyson, you're obviously being another, having won the novice hurdle and then coming back to win there. So that's 3 from last year that ran huge races at last year's Grand National meeting that have come back to win this year.
This is like the boot room, isn't it, at Anfield? This is what you get on this show. Sorry, Barry, go on.
Any concern with the winner, the way he jumped out was right. He did it violently.
He does it every time.
Yeah,
He does that every time.
I'm not.
As the race progresses, it wasn't as pronounced, but early doors, it was quite severe.
He tends to be a horse that needs to get a bit of match practice. It's almost like he forgets what he's doing. Do you know what I mean?
I've said about him before, Dave. He's a really strange horse in that he jumps right every time you see him, but when he goes right-handed, he doesn't look as good. He looks better going left-handed, but he jumps right. So he's a kind of a weird horse like that. But
Yeah, Long Press used to jump badly left, didn't he?
Everyone was worried about him at Sandown, but he did what he did. Whichever way he goes the other way.
You might find that this race has a really good benefit for a Hoyson. He wasn't as bad as he can be today. I assume next season he'll start off in Charlie Hall. You assume that's the race he starts in. And then we'll get a bit of a view then as to how he goes. Because Weatherby will test you jumping-wise.
A nod to Nat Green. I haven't checked my phone yet, but I bet I've got a message going. I told you so. This was her horse to follow for the season. Put it up last October, Champions Day. If you go on her Twitter feed, you'll see it's her pinned tweet still when she talks about this chap. When she walked in to the Open Day at Lucinda's, everyone's jaw dropped. He's got his Grade 1 now, and it's all happy days.
He's got some amazing performances in the book just this season alone.
British Pointer.
Back me up. I mean, the performance at Newbury, I think we spoke about it straight afterwards. Yeah. That was wildly amazing on times. He really finished that race, and the time was great. The race at Weatherby, you already said, I think they finished 115%.
So that's about 2 seconds a furlong quicker.
Off a really good pace, and just purely on times, this horse is very good.
He is a machine. He's got a proper engine. If they didn't jump any fences in the Gold Cup, I'd be backing him.
That's the problem, I think, at Cheltenham. Like you mentioned, Bruce, was he made a crucial mistake coming down the hill and he just lost his place, and that was that.
Right, well, few bubbles burst then. We've had 2 races down on this afternoon's RP Live. Great numbers out there, great feedback, keep it coming in. The social interaction is hot out there, like the weather at Aintree. Great to see Lucinda Russell, all smiles there. You just think of Brian May, don't you, when you see Lucinda Russell? It's the greatest rock star haircut in there.
That's very rude.
No, it's not. It's a rock star haircut. Or Iron Maiden or something.
Tell you what, she got rock stars.
She's a friend of the show.
Well, she was.
She was.
I got a rock stars get up today. Did you see her?
They train racehorses. They train.
I look forward to Dave Orton telling Lucinda Russell on the next show.
Is James Sherwood on next week?
In the Freddie Mercury doc, you wouldn't have looked twice if she'd have been
now,
there.
Dave. Stop now, mate, please.
Okay. Well, I bet Pete Skoo's going to be insufferable up there in the owners and trainers. If anyone's there at Aintree, let us know where you're watching from. We know you take us on your phones and your iPads and all that sort of thing, and we know not all of you have the pictures, so let's hope you're enjoying the commentaries as well. The greatest, anti-post reaction, then straight after the race you hear it straight away. Of course, don't forget to check your members club. Around about 6 o'clock you'll get all the reports with all the quotes from the connections, and let's see what Paul says about Brave Man's Game. Venetia maybe about Long Press as well, and that winner does look a bit special, doesn't he, on a flat track. We've got a hot pot coming up in the 3:30 then, Barry. It is the Marsh Chase, otherwise known as the Melling for you out there, and last year's winner Fakir Duderi miles clear of the others.
Yeah, he's 5-4, Dave. Very strong at that 2.26. He won the Betfair Ascot Chase. He only beat 2 for Gold. It was rated 152 or 154. So he did what was, what he was entitled to do in the Betfair Ascot Chase. He's very short here, though. 10.5 St. Calvados from 15. That's been a bit of a springer. The market fund with Savola has gone the other way. Is out to 12.5, having traded at around the 7-1 mark. 12 Hitman. 13 Captain Guinness now, 14.5 Mr. Fisher at 17 bar. I like Captain Guinness in the winning place market here, please, Keith. He's obviously third to Grenadine and Hitman in the Betfair Tyndall Creek in December. Prior to that, he ran third to Shackham Persuar to Dublin Racing Festival. And last time out, he ran really well in Nace. He won a grade 3 there, given £7 to both Black Bow and Cashback. So we're going to have 25 quid win on him at 12.5. As there has been money for him. He was 15 earlier on. It's his first time at the 2.5 miles as well. And I think there is stamina in the family. He's from the family of Celtic Shot, and Jerry's back, so he should get the trip. And 25 quid in the place market. Just the standard 3 places here as well, please, Keith, where he's currently trading at around 5-2, 3.5. So stepping up to the 2.5 miles for the first time. Hopefully he'll leak out a bit of improvement. If he if anything goes wrong with the favourite underperforms. I think Captain Guinness could be thereabouts. Rachel Blackmore in the plate.
From one Queen of Aintree to another then for Barry Orr, it's all about, I mean, let's hope that we see plenty of Rachel on the front pages and, you know, on the tabloids, you know, the news and everything like that. It was a remarkable feat, wasn't it, at Cheltenham again? And here she is on Captain Guinness horse that I don't think we've seen the best of so far. There's the social that's come in. Eden JS, welcome along, or welcome back along. I've seen that name before. So Royale, I even forgot he was running in this race. And Paint the Dream each way for me. Before we give selections.
I would not have foreseen at the start of the season many races in which I would back both So Royal and Paint the Dream.
Each way. Yeah.
Each way, yeah. I mean, it's not. I've said in the paper today, there's no horse here that would truly surprise me if it were to win. But that struck me as like, yeah, those are not horses you would back each way in the same race. They're totally different. But they both might place depending on how the race shakes out.
This has been a very kind race to punters over the last 10 years. No horse bigger than, well, there was one 10 to 1 that was God's Own. Do you remember what great horse he was? Apart from that,
he won
no horse.
3 Grade 1s.
He was 10 to 1.
How did that win 3 Grade 1s?
Well, it probably was the generation. Who did he beat? We love doing this.
He beat Vautour for
Alpha off. You know,
Did he beat that thingy Velcro? No, what was he called?
Vibrato Valtat.
Would
Well
he be
done,
one?
Bruce. He's in there. Clarkham, Summersby, what a name that was. And Vitor fell in that race. He was travelling strongly at the night, so he sort of fell in. But apart from that, no horse bigger than 5 to 1. So, but look, historically, you want to be looking towards the top of the market. I must admit, I'm not doing that in this. Loads of people will just be thinking of a gift horse and looking it in the mouth here with Faku Dairies. Keith, are you doing that?
It's a viable option, but you know, I've not seen enough evidence this season that he's still that 170 horse that, if he was, you could definitely see the angle for getting tucked in at your sort of 6 to 4, 5 to 4. Because of how workmanlike he was at Ascot a little bit, because it's a very open race behind, I've gone against. And the horse that I've gone for is St Calvados, who on ability is probably as good as anything in this race, possibly including Fakir, maybe not quite, but we don't need to have that debate. He's 8 times the price or whatever. So St Calvados, he has got physical issues. He bled in the Ascot Chase, but in the last 2 King Georges, he's shaped as well as anything without getting home necessarily and getting a proper brain dead ride. When he was fourth in this year. Was it fourth or third? Fourth in this year's. Just made a move at the wrong time. It was ridiculous.
Oh, a lot of people spoke about Gav Sheehan just going for glory there.
Oh, it was. It's like, why would you move at that point of the race as well? It was daft. Anyway.
Even Paul himself was trying to be as diplomatic as he can, but you could see he was making his cheeks wobble with anger.
Oh, as it would, because that...
he did lose the job after that, yeah.
And this horse is obviously, if he's right, he is at least the second best horse in the race, and I can back him at 8.
How?
Oh, I
Does
don't
it not
get this, and
concern
you
you
don't
that he
get this,
first
Steve.
blood?
I was just about to say that.
Oh,
You just blithely sort of shrugged off the fact that he bled last time.
Yeah, sometimes horses bleed. Like, Mr. Fisher's probably going to blunder his chance away. There's about, 2 to 1 against chance, or at the very, very most that St Calvados is going to bleed. And I can't do anything about
7 to 2
that.
to beat Fakir Dudere.
And what I've said as well is that St Calvados is as likely to bleed here as he is anywhere, whereas Mr. Fisher is more likely to blunder his chance away at Aintree. You know, there's something to let in here. There's something that you've got to allow for. But if you told me, by the way, he's definitely not bleeding today, he's a 3 to 1 chance.
If he comes back to the min form, a previous one of this, but that was a long time ago, wasn't it? It was like, you can't go through your life not backing a bleeder. I was listening to Ruby Walsh talking to our own David Jennings on the Good Morning Aintree show yesterday, and they were and Keels had put up Ken Boy, and he said, if Ken Boy comes back to the form, he goes, yeah, but David, that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. These horses do age, don't they? And they do get their problems. I don't get this St Calvados thing at all. Of course, I'm back class, I get it, and this is his ground.
It's not that back class. That's the thing. It's not so far back.
I don't know.
It seems like he was still a 170.
It's been a very rocky road since then.
You watch that King George, you would say that horse is still a 170 horse. The way he's shaped.
Yeah, but
it's not back class as such. It's only going back to
didn't
Boxing
he do
Day.
that the previous year at Kempton as well, behind Frodo?
Yeah,
he also
another
made a move,
bad ride.
didn't he? Another go for glory. That was on his return, wasn't it? I don't get it at all, but it is. And other judges are putting him up.
Siegel's put him up.
Yeah, there you go. Jonathan Hardy's put him up.
Isn't he?
And Siegel knows the owner a bit,
Yeah.
so he'll got the nudge.
That doesn't surprise me at all. All right, we're getting a bit spicy about St Calvados here. I am a huge Fakir Dudere fan. I haven't been with him since he won this race last year. He absolutely strolled home in this race last year, but he beat nuts well. Itchy feet. he had Master Tommy Tucker in the race. This is definitely a more interesting race, shall we say? I'm not suggesting it's necessarily a stronger race.
I wrote that.
Did you?
Yeah, I wrote exactly.
And
that.
you'd be thinking that I had been paraphrasing you, but I didn't get time. Believe it or not, I'm a busy man, Keith. But we are more aligned than you think.
Yeah, I don't expect you to have found time to read the Racing Post, Dave. Don't worry.
You are doing the preview for the National tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah, that was filed a couple of hours before we came on air.
Oh, biggie. Is that what gets you out of bed on this week, I imagine?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? The Grand National, it used to be the race, whereas now I think the Gold Cup is the race, to be perfectly honest. But the National, how can you not get excited? It's still the public race, isn't it? It's still the race that I get texts about saying, what's winning the National, lad?
So, Nap, St Calvados.
Yeah, Nap did mostly annoy Bruce, to be honest.
Well,
That's fine.
I was about to say, we love a head-to-head.
I get annoyed by a lot of things in life, but Keith napping
pointless,
St Calvados.
and being gubbed on pointless.
Yeah.
Napping.
Faki just wins. Too good.
Fine.
Put aside for this. They wisely opted out of a scrap with Allaho, which they weren't going to win.
He's a beautifully straightforward horse,
Here
isn't
he comes. He'll do what he did last year and win nice and easy.
Yeah.
Maybe not as clearly as last year. I do think that any bookmaker not doing it without Fakir market here is missing a trick because it's a really competitive heat without the Fav. If you don't like the Fav, it's a really competitive race.
I might do it in the without market as well. I have had, I've actually even backed the complete rag of the lot, just a few quid, Editor Digit, because he might be, they assume he won't stay. And
He ran a blinder, didn't he, in the Grand Annual,
Yeah.
considering he went off
Yeah,
like
he
a
did.
scolded cat.
Yeah, it's assumed he won't stay because he's mental, but if he does stay, and I think he's got more chance than he's being given. He's not out of this at all. So I might actually back him in the without Fakir market as well potentially, because he might just, Fakir's a solid one and might be a better horse than him. So.
It was run on heavy ground. The going are gone come Grand Annual time. They don't think he wants that. They think he wants this sort of surface. Oh yeah, it's not. And actually, 2 runners have come out of that. One was Dancing on My Own, who very nearly won the Red Run yesterday.
Run last week at Ayr, didn't
And
he?
yes, you're right. Il Ridotto, who ran all right. So strong Grand Annual. 2 naps then in this, but it's with a heavy heart that I don't know. He had a hard enough race at Ascot, I think. And I've got scarred by horses. Like, do you remember Corto Star once went to the Ascot Chase and then he got beaten by Denman in the Gold Cup and they were convinced they shouldn't have gone to that race? Oh, my pocket was convinced as well.
Well, he got
And
injured.
there's
He got
something
injured
about-
after.
I love the Ascot Chases race. One of my favourite races to go and visit each year.
Don't think any horse would have beaten Denman that day, though.
Well, maybe not.
He
It
was
doesn't matter.
absolutely
But
I'd like to have seen it. I'd like to have seen the Calto 2009 against the Demon in 2008. That would have been a race, wouldn't it?
we could go off on that tangent.
Great,
Funnily
wasn't it?
enough,
So who are you going for?
these two are head-to-heading. We are agreeing.
Oh, we're agreeing, are we?
We are. We've had this chat in the office, man.
Don't expect him to listen.
Forgot that, yeah.
I'm trying to wind him up here, and this is.
So you fancy All Mankind too?
We went to the cafe earlier. It's done me good, and I think it's had the reverse effect on you.
No, I fancy only 2 horses can win this race. One is Fakir Duderi, obviously, and
And?
the other one is All Mankind.
Yes.
And I thought that obviously this race has to have been the target for a long, long time because he won. Do they call it the Monny's Garden? Old Rowan.
The
Yeah,
old
they do,
Rowan,
yeah.
It's the old
Yeah.
races can't have 2 names.
Anyway, he won that race,
They do.
and it was a very strong race, wasn't it? Midnight Shadow obviously finished 3rd, went out and won the Paddy Power Gold Cup.
Yeah.
The 4th was Fagnon Destraval, who obviously won at Newbury and then went on to finish 2nd to Fakir Duderi.
I had this chat with someone earlier when I mentioned that I put up All Mankind. Yeah, but he beat Itchy Feet. But I would wager that
Yeah,
Itchy
but-
Feet at the start of the season is not the Itchy Feet we
Itchy
see at this
Feet is a
meeting.
runny horse.
You're right.
He's-
Although he was
mad
fit,
fresh,
he was
decent.
fit for the old road and nothing else was my only sort of little shade.
Possibly.
If you
yeah.
remember Air this time last year, he hosed up, didn't he?
They're giving him a similar prep, haven't they? Was he over hurdles last
I think
time?
he's
All
coming
Mankind?
totally under the radar here.
Yeah, he comes in under the radar. We've seen already, I discussed it earlier, that the Aintree form really come into the fore. Obviously, Fakir Duderi's has got that as well. I just really thought it was between Fakir Duderi's and All Mankind, and at the prices, I had to back All Mankind each way.
Tom Leach in the chat. Tom can be a bit mischievous, Tom can. And he says, All Mankind, give me a break. Well,
Any concern, G-Rod, himself and Editor Gigi could cut each other's throat. They're the two pace angles in the race.
I think this is one of the things that gets overblown in racing punditry all the time. I see it all the time. You get these fellas on racing TV going, oh, well, I've done the analysis and this one front runs, this one front runs. Of course, what's happened, though, is all the jockeys have done the same. They've all gone, oh, hold on, you front run, you. And then they all have a little chat and they go, oh, well, you know, why don't you go on and we'll just... And I think that a lot of this is massively overblown. Tactic analysis is just, it's over-analysis.
There's a reason why we say on paper, isn't it? Because it doesn't, you know, we say on paper, this looks like there's a lot of pace in this.
It happens every now and again, and when it happens...
Well, Keith's just said Editor Gigi is a headbanger.
Oh yeah, but
just said Editor Gigi is a headbanger and go off in front.
But what he's not so much.
And then All Mankind's natural inclination is to go off in front as well. Yes. That's the way he's been ridden.
That's
in all
the way
races.
they ride him, Barry.
Okay,
yeah. We're speaking, Barry. I mean, So Royale looks like he's holding his position in the market as well. Is there any money for the All-Stars, or is it still?
No, the favourite's hardening all the time, Dave. He's 202 now on the exchange. He's odds on the sports book. He was 5-4 against. It looks like he could go off odds on at this rate. 12 St Calvados, 13 Hitman, 11 Captain Guinness. That's come in for some support. All Mankind 17.5. Editor Gis the Rag at 46.
Okay, stick with you, Barry, because I don't know. What have we got coming up? Are there any... We're talking about the market. Yeah, you can see there's something going on in the studio here. Well done, Dan Walsh has come in to change a few batteries. You must have given the signal, did you? We said pre-race, didn't we? If I do this,
I didn't.
And Barry thought we might be going to the Thirsty Bear or something.
The magic of television, are you, Dave? As soon as someone's in your ear,
Thirsty Bear. That sounds like a good pub.
It is a good pub, Barry. When you're next over, we'll take you down.
Oh yes,
Rod.
Yes, we'll be doing that.
Yeah, your wife's coming tonight, isn't she? To meet everyone.
She's coming in. Yeah.
Sabrina.
Yeah,
Why?
Sabrina. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Will she be wearing the purple silks?
It's a long story. We're at a wedding tomorrow. We're at a wedding tomorrow in London. Yeah. So I said, well, I'll stay in a hotel because I'm in the office Friday night. The wedding is at 12:30 in London tomorrow. What is the point in me going all the way out, getting back at 1 a.m, having been out with these lads, and then coming back in for 12:30? I'll just stay in a hotel. And she, of course, said, well, if you're staying in a hotel, I'm coming with you. So she's now meeting a friend, and then she will meet me afterwards after she's met her friend for dinner.
So you're hoping for All Mankind to come good here?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Pay the hotel.
That's exactly.
No, you don't want to have winners when your wife can hear.
Well,
I've learned the hard way.
She watched, didn't she? Of course, Mrs. Sabrina Gosden.
She likes racing, doesn't she? She loves racing. My missus.
Yeah.
You know, I would not have married a girl who's not into racing. Couldn't possibly have done that. Yeah, she obviously loves it.
I went racing with the whole Rodway clan at Cheltenham in October. Yeah, we went to the.
It's like getting the black couch out here, isn't it? It's like a little session here.
Yeah, no, my kids love it as well. You know, like we are a racing family through and through.
You always go into the middle of a course,
though, of course, we're not blue-blooded.
Whether it's a cross country at Cheltenham or the fairground at York.
We do it properly. I don't go racing to drink. You know, I go racing to watch racing. I drink afterwards if I'm going to drink.
Yeah.
And he wears the dark glasses so you can't recognise him.
Yeah, I do wear the dark glasses. I did bring them in the dark glasses once or twice, didn't I?
You did. They change as they get lighter. They darken up.
Those reactor-like
reactor. Yeah. He does look very, very odd in them.
So anyway, that is the story as to why the missus is going to come out and ruin the night out tonight.
Well, we like to digress. If there's an egg on face horse here for anyone, it's got to be Hitman, isn't it?
A little bit. I mean,
talk about overrated horses.
I've worked very hard to make sure there's not an egg on face horse in the way I've approached this race. So I hope not. But
well, it's Funambul Sivola, second to Energamine. Venetia Williams' horses may as well not bother turning up.
He's really uneasy, isn't he, Barry Funambul? I mean, he was second favourite, wasn't he? Look at him now.
I tell you,
Captain Guinness is second.
The one that's the strong one. He's the only other horse in the race in single figures. He's into 8-1, 9.0.
Barry, I hate to admit it, Barry, but we only a third of our bet got matched on the place market. He's gone.
Has he been whacked in the place?
Has he been whacked in? Well,
see, Barry, if you do insist on having the apprentice putting your bets on, mate, rather than the master, that is what happens.
MI says, Dave in the
chat. We
chat.
won't fall out over it.
Is there any chance the drinks will be flowing on tomorrow's live show? Would be good to watch you lot tanked up trying to explain your tips. Well, I can tell you, wait for Sunday, MI, because you will be having a couple with the Masters, won't you?
No, I won't. I'm doing a live broadcast. I can't get tanked
I'm not having that. You and Steve Palmer for 6 hours.
I don't even think you're allowed to.
I would be.
Barry sits there with his Desperados during Gold Cup day.
Yeah.
I think there's broadcasting. Well, anyway,
if he gets a flask out, you know what might be in it.
But anyway, is this where we're promoting
We are.
the
Let's
US
do it.
Masters watch along on Sunday?
Cannot wait.
Me and Steve Palmer on air from 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Until the final round. Hopefully it won't be a 12-hole playoff or anything.
I haven't seen the early skirmishes, but it's gone well for Palmer so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's tipped,
whole
he tipped
year's gone well for
Scheffler
Steve.
and Dustin Johnson. They're both very prominent, so
Yeah.
fingers
How
crossed.
can people watch it on
he'll
our
have a
social
run
media
up.
channels?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Brilliant.
And,
You flirted with this last year, didn't you?
did it a couple of times last year and we got great response. Everyone
you
loved it.
did.
Anyway, they're almost off.
All right, the flag is up. Anyway, Sunday, 8 p.m. Don't forget to join Bruce and Stephen. They'll be having a couple.
We might, surreptitiously. If you see a vessel with a label taken off
Does Steve watch it from his shed?
no, he watched this one from home, I think. Right, they're off and
Holding
running.
up all mankind.
All mankind's last early on.
Whoa.
So there you
The
go.
editor du Gite is in front over the first.
Editor in G, yeah. You wouldn't have had the forecast of Editor du Gite first over the first and All Mankind last, but that's what's happened.
What are they doing that for?
Paint the Dream is prominent. Fakir Duderi.
They must have been listening to you, G-Rod.
Stupid idea.
This
Mr.
is my mate
Fisher's in
Mozzie all over again.
fourth.
Oh, he's
On the
loving it.
outside,
Editor
we've
du
got
Gite's having a great
Hitman. They're all jumping okay. 2.5 miles is the trip. Any market moves?
Yeah, your favourite went straight in. He was Betfair SP of evens. He's 188 now. All Mankind 18.22 from a Betfair SP of 13.5. Pulling the arms out of Harry Skelton. All Mankind. And the one in front into 19 from 25.
You do not want to let
Imagine-
Editor du Gite go like
is
this.
No, you don't. But
You
imagine,
don't.
imagine planning your whole season around this horse and then he does this to you.
This is my mate
Completely
Mozzie. Do you remember at Leopardstown? G nearly spat
This
the dummy
is
out.
absolute nonsense.
You're chuntering here.
This
aren't
is
you?
absolute.
He's been grumbling in my ear.
Dan Skelton and Harry have had the book out of how to overcomplicate things. All right, yeah, let's try and make things as complicated as possible. We'll stick him out the back. He'll pull like a pig, and then he'll probably finish tailed. Oh,
Rachel
this is
Blackmore's doing
absolutely
the same thing.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
as
she
well.
is.
Yeah, she is.
And
They're right
Funambule
on then.
Sivola,
Give
he's
us
the other
silly.
one.
Give us both barrels on Rachel, then G-Rod.
Well, doesn't Captain Guinness run like this? I don't know Captain
She
Guinness
has been
very
holding
well,
him up
but-
a bit more. She
But
has, yeah.
this is nonsense on
Right,
that.
they're
Funambule
turning-
Sivola, the other
complete.
one.
Turning into the home straight for the first time, and Editor du Gite is settled all right in front. I mean, he's going fine. He's popped over that just fine from Paint the Dream.
Whoa.
All Mankind,
Oh,
not too
jeez.
clever. Now, what price is he now? Go on, rub it in, Barry. Make G.
27.
Put on another zero. Come on, I'm doing that in the hope that it.
The market seems to quite like him, G-Rod.
I don't know why he's not. He's resenting being held up.
They're very much giving Editor du
All
Gite to do what he
Mankind.
wants.
Okay, yeah, they are. Editor du Gite is having it a solo out in front. Paint the Dreams in second. Mr. Fisher's going all right in third. I actually thought Mr. Fisher might run okay today. If he jumped round, I thought he
No,
was
that's it, but
he
Much
was the
better
main
ground for
danger.
him today.
I don't like to say if he jumps round at Aintree.
Well, it's the same as with your St Calvados if he doesn't bleed, isn't
This
it?
is a
Well,
shocker.
he's as
of
likely
all
to bleed
mankind.
anywhere, is what I've said.
This is a mess.
Right, they passed the post with a lap to go in the Marsh Chase.
shouldn't be
And
laughing.
G-Rod, how are you feeling?
Oh, whose idea is this? I'm not being funny, but whose idea is
Definitely
this?
not being funny, are you?
This is,
Blimey,
I mean,
very serious.
They should have to tell punters if they're going to do that.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
I
They do in,
Let's get
in
the
Hong
Aussie
Kong.
stewards up
Yeah.
running the game.
I wrote that, Barry. They should.
Yeah,
If,
you
if
did
you're going to
actually.
change
Give him his due, he
tactics, you
did.
should have to declare it.
All right.
Well,
okay.
you never know. Right, they're going out to back onto the far side. Editor du Gite doing what we expected, even if All Mankind isn't. But he's now been pressed for the lead by Conor Brace and Paint the Dream.
He's going for it now.
Going beautifully in third, as he has been all the way through. Is the
They're gonna put
favourite.
up All Mankind.
Fakir
Yeah, he's
Duderi
got
on the
to.
inside.
Jump
Mr.
another.
Fisher's going nicely. Hitman's in fifth. He's going okay. St Calvados is okay. On the inside is So Royal, trying to make ground after being
Fakir wasn't
behind
great
early
there.
on a Captain Guinness and Funambule Sivola, and now the writing is very much on the wall for All Mankind, who is 1,000 on the Betfair Exchange. Editor du Gite has pulled out a little bit more.
Ooh, Mr.
A
Fisher.
terrible mistake from Mr. Fisher. Who would have thought it? And sorry, Barry, go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, you're right there. Mr. Fisher made an absolute stinker. 7.4 now, Editor du Gite. Whether he gets home or not remains to be seen.
Captain
Guinness,
Guinness is
9.
coming.
Your favourite 5 to 4 on Packer. Do that
Captain
reason.
Guinness is absolutely tanking.
Don't put the mockers on him, Dave, will you not?
Turning out the back straight. They've got the
Worst
cross
in-running
fence.
judge of all time.
They've got the cross fence.
Doing the only
And
nothing
3
show.
to go. All Mankind's not
He's
done. I
countering.
wouldn't give up on All Mankind, G-Rod.
He's well beat.
No, I know. I'm joking. I'm
I
joking.
tell you
Oh,
what,
he's
Phil,
had
it
another
was-
one.
it
You
was
need
great
new
there,
prescription,
Dennis.
Bruce.
Hit another
Okay,
one.
they're turning in.
Come on then.
Editor du Gite has gone. Paint, the dream is in front. From Fakir Duderi.
So
going
Royale
really
going
well is Hitman. He's absolutely cruising. On the outside, Funambule
Good stuff
Sivola.
on
Venetia
this.
I tell you what,
Chance,
So
also a chance.
Royal's going well. Captain Guinness is going over.
He is.
Forget Mr. Fisher and All Mankind, and now Fakir Duri hits the front with
Hitman.
2 to go. But Hitman's going really well. So Royale is battling away. Paint the Dream's trying to stay
Great
in there,
shout from the
but it looks
social.
like he's done. It looks like it could be down to 2.
travelling.
Hitman and Fakir Duri, and of the 2, Hitman is absolutely
outbattle him.
flying.
He's gonna outbattle him.
Fakir's
Hitman,
favourite.
There he
Fakir.
goes.
So Royale is really gritting
him.
away in third, but
Winners
Fakir
in
now
front.
asserts as they come to the last. Fakir Dudri, 2 lengths in front, 3 lengths in front. That is it from Hitman.
Go on,
Fakir
over you
just
go.
needs to jump last, and he does. And he's 4 lengths clear, and he's going to take this race out for the 2nd successive year. All too easy. Fakir Dudri wins it. Hitman's run really went in 2nd. So Royal, yet more prize money. What a lovely horse he is. He is in 3rd, but it's all about the favourite. If you backed him, if you kept the faith, go and collect.
Well, he put a couple of chips down in the first few races, but the nap hand has landed for Bruce Millington. The last time he was on the show, he gave you the commander of the fleet. The commander has got it in. The favourite wins, as he did last year. It was all too easy, wasn't it, Barry Orr?
Yeah, Betfair SP of even money, bang on 2.0. He's 7-2 on. He traded 7-2 on when Hitman just got to his quarters that time, but he pulled well clear of him. Hitman hit a low of 1.78, so 5-4 on in running. Captain Guinness hit a low of 6 before you put end to his dream and hopes there. And then outside of that, nothing else really traded short at all. I think it's fair to say Energy Z probably didn't stay, and I'm sure G-Rod has plenty to tell us about All Mankind.
Yes,
Go
I
on
think he's on his phone. Look, he's
Go again.
absolutely he's bubbling up. But well done,
He's
Eden.
texting Dan.
Eden, our commentator out there, that basically, I hope you got 4 places on Paint the Dream. So Royale 3rd, Paint the Dream as well. Lovely little Eat Tray return. So Royale's just a beautiful
He's
horse.
great.
Every time we
what's
come
it
for
is?
him.
The thing is, he's got place money there in the Merlin chase despite not staying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just a lovely.
I
lovely
thought
horse.
there was a race earlier on this season. I can't remember exactly where, and I looked at it and I thought perhaps he's actually done for now. But he just,
No,
do you know what I
never.
mean?
It was
and he
Cheltenham.
did though, didn't he?
It was Guard Your Dreams.
He ran badly, didn't
Yeah.
he? There, and I thought perhaps that might be the end of him. But
He
he's
came out
come
and
back.
said,
What a
trainer
horse!
error there.
What a horse
Yeah.
he is. He's brilliant, isn't
His
he?
reverse
Yeah,
form
he's
with
great.
Venables to save another Venetian horse that came there with a chance and fell in a hole.
Made all, not fluent 3 out. Soon faced challenged and pushed along. Ridden approaching last. 3 lengths ahead last. Hard press running, kept on gamely.
Look,
That was a huge figure at Aintree at the
what
start
were
of the
they
season.
worried about, Editor de Gite?
And they've done a barrier here, and they've gone, hold on a second, Editor Jagit's going to go like clappers. Why don't we just suddenly
It's Barry's fault.
do the complete opposite to what this horse does? And, oh, no. I don't understand
He
it.
should have got the ride that Paint the Dream got.
Yeah, it should have been, yeah, of
He should
course.
have got the ride Paint the Dream got.
He should have got the same ride that he got when he
In
posted
fairness,
a
in all
huge figure
seriousness,
here.
in all seriousness, there, like punters are backing that horse, thinking, right, he's going to go off in front, he's going to give his true running, and you know that's why people will have formed a decision to back All Mankind, whether it be win or each way. And from flagfall, you're scratching your head, you're thinking, geez, what are they doing here? He's pulling the arms out of Harry Skelton. Should Harry Skelton have maybe changed and gone to Plan B and said, no, I just got to let him stride on there?
Yeah. This is
Well,
let's
but
keep on this
what's
point.
the thinking there?
I think that they've got inside the heads of Skeltons a bit this year. Do you remember after Cheltenham last year? Everyone was saying that he's just getting too. He's doing what people used to accuse Tom Scudeville of, having the cavalry behind him.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I've got to go.
Skew used to do that, to be fair. He doesn't do it as much anymore.
All the judges used to moan about Skew on that front, but and then he got on Sky Pirate, of course, and showed exactly how he could be an artist in the saddle. But do you think they got inside of their heads a bit? Because it's very unlike Dan Bullish Skelton to go away from a plan A. Do you remember there was that season when people said that Paul Townend was worried wherever Davy Russell was a couple of years ago? Everywhere he looked, Davy was there, and he got inside his head. Yeah. Very good.
Anyone who's backed All Mankind, all they want to know, I mean, it's their horse. They can ride it how they like. All I would like to know is I'd like to know the thinking behind it. You know, what exactly were they thinking there? Because I don't see any way that horse could possibly win with those tactics.
Yeah, but also with the way he's run, he can't possibly win. Why are we banging on about some 16-1 shot for the rest of the show?
The reason that
Does it matter?
the reason that
He
he ran,
gets a right beer
the
in his
reason
bonnet
that he
about
ran
these
so
things.
poorly is because he pulled too hard and didn't jump well because he didn't get a clear sight of his
The
fences.
point that Barry's making about bringing people in and change of tactics being disclosed
Well,
is a
That's a
valid
good
one.
point. It's a
It
great
is.
point.
They should be hauled into the stewards now and said, why did you do that? They have to explain themselves. They'll get out of it. But in future, we should be asking for changes of tactics.
It's not like me to mention Australia, but
I know.
I would never
Far
do
be it from Dave Orton.
Far be it for me to talk about my time down there. But you would be getting a fine. That's actually what happens.
Really?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, yeah.
But there's no harm.
Punters first.
Yeah, there's no harm in letting people know.
Highest turnover jurisdiction in the world, isn't
And
it?
the prize money flying.
I suppose.
You know? So
I suppose. But look, we're talking about a horse that was 16-1. He's finished 7th. So what? Let's talk about the winner. Who's a brilliant horse.
But punters who have backed him will not be happy like me.
well, no, of course.
And
I
they'll wanna
mean,
know
I
why.
backed him, and I just knew after two
Let's
fences
talk
I'm
about a horse
moving
that
on.
punters who back will be happy about. Lovely old Fakir Doodery.
Yeah, and
who's unlucky because he's
Yeah.
in a division
but
where
you're-
Allaho absolutely dominates.
But you're starting to sound like those blokes on ITV who go, oh, what a lovely horse he is. Yes, what a fantastic, lovely beast he is. And we all know that he's a great horse. So what?
He's absolutely livid,
Can
and
we
I bet
get
you're loving it out there,
Our
aren't you?
commenter who backed Paint the Dream and So Royal each way. Did he go four
Yeah,
places?
Eden, let us know
Eden,
whether you
did
got
you get
four
places? Because I tell you what, I would be pinning that slip to my wall.
No, it wasn't a 4 places race. You'd have
I
got
don't know,
killed,
someone-
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
No, some
I don't know,
race
some
would
do
it.
it, don't
No,
they?
but
Two or three firms
not when you're evens in a field of 9. If you've got a short fav and then the rest are all together, your
That's a very
place book's
good
going
point.
to kill you. You
That's
just
a very
can't.
good
Am I
point.
right there, Barry?
Honestly, 2 or 3 firms did.
Oh,
Yeah.
fair enough. All right.
Nice race, definitely
Some
not.
did.
No, some couple of firms did, Barry.
Right.
Can I
Oh, okay.
just
Well,
make
look,
one point?
in this day and age of concession, it wouldn't surprise me. But I think that is the old school
Hang on a second.
methodology. isn't
G-Rod
it?
hasn't really mentioned all of mankind yet. Go on, mate.
You're not finished yet.
Do you think Bill Gredley will be steaming?
Surely they have to run that by the owner.
I presume
before
the
they do
owner
that.
must have.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
well,
surely.
someone's made the decision somewhere. I don't know who it was, but no.
This is twice this has happened to you.
Okay,
on
I'm
the
making
show
it.
this
Yeah,
year.
it is
Go
because
on,
it happened
G-Rod.
with my mate. Was
Get
it?
it off your chest, mate.
Well, the other thing, I was talking about phrases that get on my nerves that they say on ITV in particular.
You might be in danger here, Bruce.
Is that like they talk about every trainer like they're a god, every single one. Like there's
Oh,
not.
he's going back.
Well,
into,
there's no.
there's no
I mean,
magic.
well,
Playing the hits.
No, but-
Jamie Philby's on social today. He's just gone. Hang on, I'm
go
getting
on.
ready.
No, but every trainer is like, oh, he does amazingly well with such a small string. Oh, this trainer, oh yes, he's great. Oh, this trainer, oh, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, they can't all be geniuses, amazing. And you know, that's kind of the point we were making a long time ago. Is that like all these guys get built up as amazing, and
They do. I totally agree with
and
that.
they can't all be amazing.
I
mean,
totally agree with that.
I mean-
There is no. I don't think there's any magic to training racehorses, is there? It's
Are you
experience.
trying
Let's
to
not
wind me
do
up
this
here?
again.
No.
Let's not do this
Let's do
again.
a slightly.
You're trying to
Let's do a
wind me up.
slightly more refined version of what G-Rod says.
A matured version.
Well, they are. I mean, when our young reporters come into the game and they get to ring up all the trainers and ask them about the horse's chance, they're very starstruck. But these guys really, there isn't magic to training horses. You feed them, you look after them, you give them a sensible exercise regime. The programme book, there's not a million races you can run them in, is there? I agree with you, G-Rod. I mean, there's very good trainers and there's okay trainers,
Yeah,
but
of
I
course.
do agree with you. Your general point is they get overrated.
My
don't
general
they?
point is that it's very dull and boring when the pundit on the TV just says, oh yes, and he's trained by such and he does fantastically well, and they say that every single time about every single horse.
But
It's very
thank
dull.
you
But there's a
very
gravy
much.
train, though, isn't there, for it? You know, there are
You know.
people that are, they want to talk to these people again. And I do it, you know what I mean, to a certain extent. I want people to come back on, you know what I mean, when I'm interviewing them.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
get me wrong.
there's a lot of that that drives it. There's a guy who's now on the telly that I used to work with, and his quote about it was, they're basically Barbara Woodhouse. You know,
They look after other people's pets.
Yeah.
They do. They're paid to look after other people's pets.
Hold on, this is getting worse than
Not
what
pets,
I said.
but animals. But I must say, Gerard, that is the first time I've ever been accused of being over enthusiastic and just focusing on the positives. I've had 55 years of doing everything but that. So thanks for that, mate.
Okay, all right, there you go. We know that you love it when it gets meaty in between the races. Let's see what the chat is saying after we go to the Topham. There it is. Back over the national fences we go. What a thrill every day, Barry Orr. Who are you going for in the Mini Nash?
Yeah, I suppose the first thing to say here is there's bags of pace on. This is going to be ran at a frenetic
Hold on,
pace.
you said that about
On
the last race.
on the sports, and it was. The editor Jeep made sure of that. Mr. Coffee, your favourite on the sportsbook, 5-1, 8-1 Royal Rendezvous from 11, 9 McToffee, Senior Citizen is 12, 14 Fantastic Lady, 14 5-Star Getaway, and Spirited Games, and 18 Bar. The horse I like in it is the Dermot Desmond owned Foxy's Jack. I'm going to back it on the sportsbook, please, Keith, where it's currently trading at around 25. We're going to avail of those extra places on the sportsbook. There's 6 places on the sportsbook, and it's currently trading at what price there? Can you see it?
20s.
20s, yeah. We're going to have 25 quid each way. I've forgiven him his run last day behind Corrick Ram, but he made a dreadful mistake about 3 out. Time before that at the Dublin Racing Festival, he ran Birchdale to a length and a quarter. That was a good run. He's back to 2 mile 5 here, and I think he'll be there or thereabouts. So availing of the 6 places on the sportsbook, 25 quid each way, Foxy's Jack.
Done.
Okay, Foxy Jack from Mouse Morris, Dermot Desmond, very famous colours. Comanche Court, you'll remember there. Great to see his colours back on the race course. He's only an 8-year-old. I seem to remember Dave Jennings put him up, maybe for the Thyestes, and he pulled up, didn't he? I think he has to go this way around. You're right, he caught the eye for a little bit last time at Cheltenham as well. Going for a price, Barry Orr. We know what usually happens when that is there. Time to react. You have Foxy Jack's there at his Barry selection, just under 30 to 1 at the moment.
It'd be a wee symmetry, that, because he finished second in the race at the Dublin Racing Festival. That enough times finished him before he won last year's national.
Well, before we get some more tips, every time we seem to talk about Christian Williams in this studio, you know what happens?
You start doing a Welsh accent most of the time. That tends to happen.
I think I've nearly nailed Christian. I don't know if I'm brave enough to go down it with Bruce sitting next to me. But Nick Schofield sits on Christian Williams, and Nick was kind to give us a little sound bite on his runners today.
5-star getaway. He's got lightweight on his back. Should take to the fences and could run well. And Staghorn won the Grade 2 Leamington Spa. Disappointed at Cheltenham. If we can forget that run, he has every chance. Fingers crossed.
Nick, a future star of the ITV bench.
Not too enthusiastic.
Exactly. Not so happy about it. Nick did the first ever What a Shout ever.
Did he?
He did. He was in stitches of laughter when we were doing it in the studio.
He made G-Rod sound like Timmy Mallet then.
That was great. Thanks to Dave Lowe, we've got that clip. We've got some more coming for you along the way, and he will be talking about Santini a little bit later on. But he did. He sounded like that must have been the tone. That must have been the tone of Bruce's car after that pointless on the way home. It's absolutely. Oh, he's got a whole shot. Yeah. That was absolutely superb.
Christ, how much can I have on?
Oh dear, oh Lord! Do you think you can sit on this panel?
Almost embarrassed to see him put up 5-star getaway now after
the
that.
boys in the gallery are absolutely livid about that. I'll tell you that much. That's absolutely fantastic. All right, okay, let's go down the top of us. We see JP McManus in the sunshine. Who did the JP double? Jonbon, and of course Fakir. That would have paid nicely. And like magic, someone else is going for the Welsh Wizards.
I am more enthusiastic about 5-star getaway than the jockey.
It's not
difficult, mate. I tell you.
Has that put you off? Oh, I knew this was going to be a good panel, Barry, didn't you? This is going crazy up here. 5-star getaway. Has there been any love for him?
5-star getaway. Hold on, let me scroll down there. Not that I can see. He's under the fold. And keep going. I can't see what price he is. There's too many runners in the race for me here.
16 on the exchange.
Yeah, he's 16 on the exchange, 16.5 to lay. James Bone.
I have backed him with extra places with a firm at 14s. So it wasn't Betfair Sportsbook, Barry, but it was a sister company, so you'll be all right.
I'm glad to hear that, Keith.
Yes, quite, absolutely.
Warms my heart to hear you speaking like that.
Unlike Robbie Wilder's, we need to measure it back up after the Wilders came back on. Let me tell you, after Deontay was in the studio. What's the case?
He is a horse that I thought he was going to. I thought he might have been a bit of a dark horse for the national. Surprised he didn't get a national entry. He stays 3 miles, but I'm happier to see him going up than down than up. In trip really. He does travel really, really well through his races. Gives his fences a bit of air, which never a bad thing at Aintree. It's one. The national course is somewhere where you'll definitely forgive that. And there is every Christian Williams horse. It's become a cause célèbre, Christian Williams, but every horse of his, there's a plan. And I think the plan for 5-star getaway has been Aintree. They decided it was the Topham rather than a national. And he comes here, got a great chance. He's been given, I've backed him with all those extra places. I think it's for 6 I've got. So all he needs to be is jumping the last, and I'll get my place part nice and easy. But he's a horse that's going to be well suited to the test.
I got a word with Christian this morning.
Did you know?
I did. And
what did he say? Go on.
He said, "Wow, it's a tough race, Dave, isn't it?"
I'm sure he said that.
I hope Getty's not watching this. He'll be like, Dave, what sort of Welsh accent is
You're
this?
going to
go at Giroud.
the string to your bow last week and
What more?
win your wings.
Honestly, he's got such a dark tone. It's a great voice to try and imitate. Obviously, maybe
I'll
a
tell
bit
you
better
what,
than
I
I
wouldn't
do.
mind spending the day at the races with Christian. I reckon it might be a bit of a laugh, you know.
Yeah, get a bit spicy, wouldn't it? Give it tasty.
Space, G-Rob. Watch this space. So, yeah, look, every time. But in all seriousness, he should love the ground. He's a good jumper.
He should, and his jockey's clearly been taking loads of Valium. So,
imagine Nick Schofield proposing to someone.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's got us. It's tickled us, that. That's absolutely brilliant. All right, OK. If 5-Star Getaway wins, we're definitely playing that again, says Dan Walsh, who's producing today. Yeah. Absolutely. We'll try and get him after the race, Dave Lowe, shall we, as well, please? We'll see if he were heart-ometed, you know what I mean? It would just be like that, wouldn't it? 5-Star Getaway then for Keith. Bruce, Topham, bit of a lottery, or?
No, Killer Clown. Really like this horse. I've liked him all along. He's a good, precise jumper. When the key to him is drying ground, which we're getting today. I like him very much. I was encouraged to hear Emma Lavelle say that they've got an Aintree style fence or two at home, and he relishes that. I just think he's a class act, and I think he's off a decent mark. He's consistent, and I like his chances with the extra places at around about 16. Well, he's 25 on the exchange there. I like Killer Clown.
Ridden by Tom Bellamy, who I can tease. We have a soundbite for the National tomorrow.
Oh, and a clear surf.
Yeah, he hasn't plenty of the.
Is he excited? Is he excited?
Well, I'm not going to give anything away. I mean.
By the way, Dave, talking of the National, we're breaking the record here for the longest gap between me and
someone has been asking for them,
place
actually.
Selection and the other ones.
Remind
I mean,
us,
at the rate you're going, then we'll have the winner at about on Sunday evening.
Well, we've been talking about a lot in between races. Maybe we should do that on the show. Right, fourth in the National, Run Wild Fred.
Run Wild Fred, editor, the aforementioned Eclair Surf, not editor Gigi. I don't think he today.
I like him a lot.
So I like Eclair Surf. If you take that run in the Ida, behind the thing that absolutely dotted up in the Scottish Nash, he was actually closing on that one over 4 mile 1. The extra trips, the longer trips for him are the key, and he sneaked in. And I know that Emma Lavelle, she's also got what's his face, hasn't she? Help me out here. What's his with the nice name? I can't think. Anyway.
I did it yesterday.
But this is the one she wanted to run, and she's
Darasha
really,
Counter.
Yes, exactly, Darasha Counter. But she really likes this Eclair Surf, and I think that one's got a fantastic chance.
Racing Twitter was desperate for Eclair Surf to get in because of that handicap form. The handicapper would put more on his back and be good, wouldn't
absolutely. And yeah, he's £4 well, isn't he? As is Fortescue, who also snuck in the initial 40.
Yeah.
The Eclair Surf with him is. Yes, Win My Wings absolutely dotted up that time. There was a bit, she was dossing a little bit, but it was impressive that he was able to give her some sort of race, just any sort of race. I wouldn't take it absolutely, black and white literally, but if he can, as I've said in something in the paper today, with him and Fortescue, the first mile is going to be vital. Does the Clear Surf need to be bounced out in front to run as well as he can? Because he's not going to get an Editor du Gite style lead. He's going to be contesting it with about 5 others. And Fortescue was going as fast as he could all the way through in the Ascot race. And again, the first mile will be vital because if he can lay up, then he can go and run a very good race. So a Clear Surf, I'd be watching the first mile with him. He's got a right chance if he's
been punted, hasn't he, Barry? A Clear Surf. What price is he currently after sneaking in?
Sorry, Dave.
What price of Claire Surf for the biggie tomorrow on the sportsbook?
12.
12s, yeah, it's short, isn't it? Look at Callum Lewis's, floods of tears here after that Scove snippet. Poor old Nick, he's going to get absolute pelters, isn't he?
I'd like to see post his jockey group after that one.
Yeah, the WhatsApp group. We'll post it. Let's clip that up, Jamie, out there, shall we? Killer Clown, of course, if he goes and takes out the top, I expect that 12-1. It's just the way it will go. He used to run in the Tim Side of Colours as well, Claire Surf from memory.
Well, he's owned by him. He's co-owned by him.
So it's one of those Barber things.
Swap
them, right, OK, got it. Because I thought to myself, that's a dodgy sell, that one. OK, all right. Third in the Grand National, you've got Santini finishing fourth.
I think Di Saraba could run well at a huge price.
Was mentioned as having a chance yesterday by myself and DJ and Kills.
Quite consistent. Got a bit of Aintree form, albeit over hurdles. Behind Kashari in a handicap hurdle. It stays very well. Seems to run all the best races at Sandown, which is obviously a slight concern. However, when you've got a horse that's like 66, 80 to 1, you can't be absolutely sure that he's just a Sandown horse, can you? You know, at that sort of price, you're happy to go, oh, if he reproduces that Aintree. Different if he was favourite, you'd be saying, oh, he's all his forms at Sandown. But at that sort of price, I could see him running a place, D Sir Abba.
Consistent horse, this Abba.
You double take there, didn't you, when he said that? I was glad you got that one in.
My eyebrows got singed on the lights, I think. It was. He's job horse, isn't he?
What's that?
He's half a nutter, and he gets lined up at one race.
Does he need a deluge, which there's not going to be?
Don't worry about ground. You know, it's
Fine. It's a national, isn't it?
It's the most overplayed thing in racing. I've told you that.
I'll remind you of that when you. I'll remind you of that when we get to deepest, darkest winter again.
What's our list standing at now? Trainers, ground.
Trainers, ground. Yeah, well, they're sort of combined. Aren't
It's starting to annoy me actually how much trainer form this week's getting put in all the markets. Like everything of Venetia's is friendless. Everything of yeah, it gets micromanaged massively.
But the reason,
But against that though, Long Press is underrun and Fernando Civola was pulled up, so they aren't running well. That's the fact. I agree with you that you've got to be careful because they do bounce back, don't they? But
the common factor between those two horses obviously was they had hard races at Cheltenham, and obviously that doesn't necessarily apply to say Commodore in the Grand National, who's now snuck in as a reserve, but he's probably going to be a little bit unpopular because he's trained by Venetia when it might not necessarily be that. He's been saved all season, Commodore, hasn't he?
Ronnie Front on the great name. Ronnie Front on the chat says Dacia Abba the nap tomorrow. G-Rod for Philip Hobbs, who needs to get one over the line, doesn't he? He's had loads of seconds, of course.
Yeah,
in the
he's an
national
happy fella too, isn't he, old Philip Hobbs? Yeah.
He's a what?
Happy fella.
Happy?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why?
Well, he makes Nick Schofield look like a...
Oh, what you mean? He's a bit Miz.
Yeah, a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah, Les Miserables. Interesting. And let's get a social. Oh, Daniel Ramiro comes back on and said, "Oh, G-Rod, what price all mankind for the national? Likely still be on the track."
I wouldn't take that if I were you, Jim. I wouldn't take that.
Oh, I know Daniel Ramiro. Actually, he's a right old character. He's a big punter. All right, okay, right. Back to the Topham.
When are we doing that one too?
Oh, no, wait. We've got the rest of the show to go. We've got the third and the fourth. Just to remind, Run Wild Fred follows
I've forgotten
home.
that. It was about...
Eclair Surf.
Yeah.
Santini follows home Dacia Abba.
Yeah.
We got the silver and the gold medal to
So we're down a 1-2 after this, yeah?
we will.
Okay,
Thank you very much. And then we'll get your top four, which I'm sure the social boys would like to clip up for later on. I'm seeing the ball big in this with Mac Totti, who was a marvellous winner of the Grand Sefton, and surely this all just been about getting him here for this. He'll absolutely love the fences. And I'm expecting him to do what everyone thought Jet would do yesterday. Oh, it was still painful for a lot of people, Jet, wasn't it? It was awful. Couldn't have run
Terrible,
any worse.
wasn't it?
Dreadful.
Weird.
Yeah. You know,
Does
every
anything
week...
come out from that?
Not sure. Just sulked, I think. Is that an excuse? I don't know. You know, every year this week you get the what wins the national. I've got what's the tip on the opening day of Aintree, and I've not had any text today because I just thought, well, Jet will probably just be, 3-1 will be a goodie.
So did lots of people.
Yeah, and
really
I got a lot of
it?
custard pie thrown at me as I was driving home last night. Oh, that Orton.
Imagine.
Unsufferable. But Mac Totti will give you a great sight here. Sean Bowen, it's just, Peter Bowen's got a great record over these fences, hasn't he? Talk about trainers that have.
Yeah, always winning, wasn't it? It was a horse that used to come and win this.
Yes, always
winning.
winning.
Did he get 3 in a row?
In the Roddy Green colours.
Yeah, was it 3 in a row that he won in this race?
He's local to me, Roddy Green.
Is he?
Yeah,
is that the jockey?
Character. No, the owner.
Oh, no, because there's a jockey.
Those famous colours, like the always raining colours, yeah. All right, so Mac Totti for me. G-Rod, did you tip in this? Did you?
Yeah. Hopefully it won't be held up at the back. It's called Pink Eyed Pedro.
Doesn't that horse get held up at the back?
Name.
Was he second last year?
Isn't it? He finished second last year.
It's a great name, that.
Yeah, finished second last year off a £5 higher mark.
From memory, Keels tipped it.
He did, huge price.
He saw it big.
We could hear him in the studio, in the office. Sorry, it was just out there. He was bellowing, "Go on!" And the horse, of course, that trolled him.
I'm going to cut his in-running comment from last year's Topham. When he finished second to Live Love Laugh is towards rear. Steady headway, 13th Valentine's, going easily 3 out.
But second to hold up horse.
I mean, you can get the rest.
I hope they do change the tactics.
My worry about Pink Eyed Pedro, I looked at him for this thinking, well, is it, like we say about Cheltenham every year, festival form, national fence form. He was running at like Cartmelon places.
He does.
Well, he's a summer horse, isn't he?
Summer horse, yeah. And
so we've got his last. We've got
it here
towards rear. We've got chase leaders in a 4-runner race. We've got in rear.
Melrose is over-analysing.
Melrose.
Yeah.
But of course, Paint the Dream, same connections, had the 4th in the Grade 1, so they'll be buzzing for improvement from.
I mean, you can underthink as well. just talked about horse.
He's a good horse.
You've basically covered all the bases, lads, haven't you?
We
Trainers
have.
don't matter, jockeys don't matter, ground doesn't matter.
I
You can
don't think
overthink
anyone
it, you can
said jockeys,
underthink
though.
it.
I don't think
You've
anyone
left
said
nothing
jockeys,
out.
though.
I was more referring to Dave talking about owner form here, and he's got a horse that
Well,
finished.
Roddy Owen, not Roddy Gray, of course, has Frankly de Burley in this, of course, I should have said, who, for the Bowens and Brendan Powell rides. Of course, so these are the famous colours. You know, this is Peter Bowens, one of his big patrons out there. He's a right character.
Does anyone think Notebook will run well here? Just with
Yes.
Rachel, and if that,
Yes.
that was a sort of kick myself potential horse, Barry. You know, if that one went, it's the sort of horse you'd like to cover with a little cheeky fiver, just in case your other ones blow out.
159 in the
Has a
Sefton
big
piece.
chance, stepping up in trip as well.
That's
yeah,
a
big
lot
chance.
of weight.
It is, but also always winning wasn't those colours. He wasn't the Frankie de Burley colours. He was purple and.
Are you sure?
Blue. Yeah.
Was he? All right, okay. Rajani Express won this off 152.
Yeah, Mafia was a big mark.
150. Do you remember Mafia? She tanked these.
Yeah, she loved the fences as well. Absolutely pinged all the fences.
Yeah.
And a forgettable horse called Cadmium. It was 8-1. I've forgotten that
He
won
made
it.
just
He was
about, didn't he?
152. So it's a big old weight to carry in this.
Right, just give me a number, everyone. What position does Spirit of the Games finish in? You go first, Keith. Just a number.
How many runners have we got? How many runners have we got? Sorry.
Just say a number.
Oh,
Come on.
He'll finish 10.
Oh.
He'll finish
I
10.
know. I reckon he'll definitely be in the first six, probably fifth.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think he'd get placed.
He's a horse that loves finishing fifth.
Yeah.
He's probably one of those horses, isn't he, Barry? That on the Betfair Exchange, his relationship between his win odds and his place odds will be really, really skewed, won't it? Because he probably won't win, but he'll run on, won't he? He'll get in the frame.
Won't he take the huff?
Can I kind of go back to something that Melrose said? I just want to say. Is it better to overthink a race or underthink a race,
Depends how much you know.
Neither.
personally? I just,
If you know lots, underthink. If you know nothing, overthink.
I always remember reading a study that was done, you might have read it as well, and there's a study done in America, I think it was, on handicappers, tipsters like us, and they gave them 10 variables to pick from and saw what their success was, and then they gave them 40 variables, so the more information they had, the more they were expected to pick more winners because they had more information. And they actually found that their results stayed pretty much the same, whether they had 10 pieces of information or 40 pieces of information. But what changed was their confidence in their selections became stronger the more information they had. So they suddenly started to think that they were on certainties because they'd taken into account a lot more information, when actually the results didn't reflect that.
There's a big saying that beginner's luck is why people love horse racing so much. Because they just look for Ruby or they look for McCoy, and they were just like, I loathed coming off shows like this and people going, well, why didn't you just back all the Mullins horses on the Friday of Cheltenham? They just keep it simple. Of course, the more you look at anything and you look at the mechanics, you do start to
I would
overcomplicate.
argue my biggest flaw as a punter is overthinking.
Everyone overthought the last race except me.
Yeah.
They just all
Yeah,
overthought it.
absolutely.
Fakir,
Well, it was a
Fakir
price
had
thing
the
with
best
Fakir for me,
form.
but yeah.
He had the look, I know that you've got to measure price up against chance, and if you thought that his supremacy was overcooked in the price, then fair enough. But I mean, just the best horse in the race. Sometimes you just back them and they win, and it's nice and easy.
I'll tell you what, if only we could coin that phrase after every single race we watch. Everyone else overthought it, apart from me. We'd all be millionaires.
True.
And of course, watching this from.
Much.
He says that's his foible, Barry.
Yeah, that is my biggest flaw as a punter, is overthinking things. Like thinking,
I think Mr. Orr might differ.
thinking, well, this horse will win, and then suddenly finding reasons why it won't.
No one's mentioned Mr. Coffee, Barry.
Oh
who
no,
was
that's a very
Wait a minute.
absolutely smashed in the Kim Muir. And some people think he did well to finish where he did, considering he got hampered. But he's got a bit of a screw loose, isn't he?
Yeah, just a bit. He's 6.6 on the sports book or on the exchange at the moment. So 11-2, clear favourite. He's very, very strong at the head of the market. I suppose his run last day in Cheltenham, he went off joint favourite in Cheltenham in the Kim Muir. He's done nothing wrong in it, really. He's just bumped into a better handicapped horse on the day. His run behind Long Presse, he's beaten a long way, but obviously that form stands up as well. But he's a lot of twos to his name. And at some stage, he's going to get his head in front. But whether it's here or not remains to be seen. I'd better be a layer in the backer at 13-2.
OK, and Sam Davenport says, I remember Tom Segal said, don't overthink races in an interview. Yeah, Tom definitely doesn't. I mean, he doesn't even watch racing half the time, does he?
He says that.
He does. He always says that. He
Tom says
watches it.
don't,
Of course
don't overthink because he knows so much to begin with. And he just...
Oh, that was on Maddie Meets, wasn't it? Of course. Thank you, Dan Walsh is saying to me. Dave mentioned Maddie Meats.
But he used to overthink it something terrible about the draw and everything, remember?
Yeah.
In those flat handicaps. He used to get himself into a tizzy over it. And he got to a stage where he just said, I'm not concerned with the draw anymore. Or where the pace is in the draw.
Yeah, exactly right. Almost off, folks.
Right, great stuff. All right, of course, Maddie Meats will be coming back, actually. She's got one lined up for early May. I won't tease who it is, but it's going to be quite an interesting one for sure. And Dan Walsh, sorry,
When's
now
Maddie
get what
Meats
you're saying.
with Keith Melrose?
What would they do?
Well, we've had Maddie Meats with Seagull, so we're going to go around the whole
The betting
team?
editor.
Yeah.
What's interesting about me? I've not started Grand National gambles.
You were on Bargain Hunt, weren't you?
I was on Bargain Hunt many years ago.
There you
yes,
go.
right.
We're getting,
Nobody's ever found
the
it.
lead.
It's never been found.
What have you been on? Because Bruce has been on Pointless. He's been on Bargain.
Oh,
On
we know this
TV
story.
shows.
Yeah.
I was on, what's it called, Big Brother
I
as
got
well.
hypnotised by Paul McKenna.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's quality.
Right,
Yeah,
really?
that's a hell of a story,
Really?
that one.
Did you
One
remem-
for the thirsty bear, Barry. I'll tell you.
Did you remember to take you out of the trance? Have you been on
Jamie
it for 20
Philby,
years?
our social guy, saying Royal Rendezvous. Are we all overlooking this one? Willie Mullins, he's on a hat-trick in the race. Yes, Jamie. Like that a lot. Got the class, hasn't he? What mark is he off? Let's have a look.
Where's the pace here, lads?
Oh, blimey.
Everywhere.
It doesn't matter.
Everywhere, yeah. There's going to be 6 jump the first upside.
He's your pace one, Royal Rendezvous. Whatever leads him to the first will be going some clip.
Yeah, he's going to be up there,
Who's
isn't
this out the back? Someone's playing up.
he? Snugsborough, whatever it is.
Snugsborough Hall. Yeah, he's detached from the rest of them at the moment. I don't know. It looks like they're going without him, doesn't it?
All right.
But they're all
Which
on
one?
the track.
Who are they going without?
Snugsborough Hall.
Oh, OK.
I'm not saying. I mean,
Nah, they'll
he
bring him
might
in.
come in a
They'll bring
minute,
him in.
but the others are ready
Well,
to
let's hope for
rumble.
a decent start here, G-Rod.
Yeah, he wants to go on
Oh,
Pink
well.
Look, he wants to be up there.
Starters will be getting it in the neck as well.
Oh, they will
No
be.
one is
Oh,
safe.
look, they're split into
Well,
2 groups. Is that? Oh, yeah.
Batch was
Difference
telling
of
us
opinion in the
yesterday-
top of them.
Batch was telling us yesterday that the stewards go in and lecture all the riders before they go out onto the national fences. Now, remember, boys, don't go too quick and all that sort of stuff, and tell them how to ride them. He said we just used to totally
Yeah,
ignore
I
it.
bet
So,
they did.
which is evident at the start, I
Yeah.
guess. Right then, good luck. Foxy Jacks, Barry selection out the back, wherever you're playing in the top. This is going to be fast and furious. Looking forward to the call. Bruce Millington.
Here we go. They look like they're about to go. It looks a pretty decent cluster. Via Dolorosa is just a little bit detached from them. Is he going to let them go? Doesn't look like it now. They've all stuck the anchors on. How about it? That's a great line. It's a
Come on,
lovely
let them
line.
go.
It's a lovely line.
It's a beautiful
oh, no,
line.
hang on a
Oh,
second.
yeah,
No,
there's
they
Snugsborough.
needed Snugsborough to come in, and
And now
I
the
think
Gigas
that
House has
means
gone
it's all
loopy.
nosed up.
This is
doesn't
what
it?
happened.
Yeah.
This is what happened
Yeah.
yesterday in the Fox Hunter, wasn't it?
5-star Getaway was looking for a very quick getaway.
Wasn't
Royal
he?
Rendezvous
Not
up there,
gonna
Barry.
happen.
As
You
his
were quite
notebook.
right.
Notebook as well.
Isn't it good to see the Potts colours here for sizing Potsy? We don't see them that much these days for obvious reasons, but it's great to see them on the inside.
Here we go.
Here we go. It looks like we
Notebook's
could-
had a shocker.
We're good to go. We're good to go.
Giving that horse
Snugsborough Hall
6
is out the
lengths.
back. Snugsborough Hall is out the back. Notebook has got a lovely
flyer.
start. Yeah, Notebook was
He got
allowed to
6 lengths at
start
the
on his
start,
own
yeah.
time. My favourite horse in this field is Animix the Grey because it's the only one who can tell.
Whoa.
We've lost
What
one
comes
early on. Who's that early
Oh,
on?
blimey, was it
Blue with a
Fantastic
bit-
Lady?
It was. Yeah, I think it was Fantastic Ladies.
I should be a
yeah.
spotter.
So James Bowen is out the game. You are my spotter.
I'll
aren't
do
you?
it.
You've got the job. Right, they jump the second. They're all over that one. That's
Matt
okay.
Totty whacked it.
Notebook is up there.
from it.
Also well up there in the green is the top weight Royal Rendezvous and also the double green. That is Janica. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Is that the chair?
Yes, it is
Yes,
the
it
chair.
is.
Here's the third.
All over the chair. All over the
just,
chair. Right then, so top weight Royal Rendezvous for Paul Townend and Willie Mullins leads as they settle down, and Janica is in
Water.
second. They jump the water jump. They're all safely
good
over
sight,
that,
isn't it?
flowing over that in front of the packed stands. Glorious sunshine. What a fantastic sight, and great to have the grandstands packed again. Notebook is in third. Prominent on the outer in the light blue is that 5-star Getaway on. I'm not quite sure. No, he's in rear actually. He's
mid-
also out the
yeah.
back in the purple colours.
Cobolobo.
Is Cobolobo, and also I think Windsor Avenue
He's hating
is
it.
giving them a start.
Yeah, he
but
did-
they're all
he
fairly
took the
clustered
bottom
as they
very
go down to
clustered.
what is the first in the Grand National. And Janica in the double green, which was carried so valiantly into third by So Royal earlier, is probably just about going to be the first to ride from Royal Rendezvous. Any big market moves, Barrington?
Royal Rendezvous into 6 from a Betfair SP at 10. Your favourites doubled in price. 12 Mr. Coffee from a Betfair SP is 6. Janica is into 11.5, had a Betfair SP of 48, and Foxy Jack, who's up there as well.
Yeah, your
those
Foxy's
famous
going
colours,
well.
is 15 from 25.
Your Foxy Jack is going very well. Also on the outer, I think that is Via Dolorosa.
Whoa,
who's
roll
prominent.
rendezvous, nearly went.
Oh, yeah.
And on the outside, who was that in yellow? Mr. Whittaker.
yeah.
Good old Mr.
Whittaker.
Whittaker. That was a
Colours.
shocking error. He's right on the
Roll around,
outside.
He's gone, is he?
No, he hasn't gone. Paul sat, but he's going back to the pack.
Janica
Oh,
is
something hits
heading
it.
down to Beecher's on his own in
was in the
front
storm.
from Notebook. From
Beecher's, here we
Via
go.
Dollar. No, this is the one before
Oh, is it?
Beecher's, isn't it? I think. I might be wrong.
It's known as the fence before
Whoa.
Beecher.
It is, exactly, yeah.
Beecher's.
He's 5.
Oh,
he's
Foxy
lost
Jack.
Foxy
Oh,
Jackson. He's
Tamarind.
hampering.
Oh,
He's
discordantly gone.
Mr.
Mr.
Coffey.
Coffey.
Mr. Coffey.
Mr. Coffey went, I think.
Coffey's gone, I'm afraid. That's absolute carnage at the one before Beecher's. And now
Beecher's.
here we're the one that is Beecher's.
Janica's
And
running
Janica
away.
is about
What a
8 lengths
beautiful
clear.
sight.
Gone up
3-1
the
Janica.
inside. What price?
3-1.
3-1 Janica for Nicky Henderson. He lost 1 at the first, but he's delighted with what he sees here because Daryl Jacobs has opened up a massive lead here. Obviously, a long way to go as they jump the next.
miles
Notebook is
ahead.
in second.
Come on,
Via
Pedro.
Dolorosa in third.
thought Pedro
Animix is
gone.
in fourth. And then also up there, who's this on the outside in third with the
That's
pieces?
pink-eyed Pedro.
Is it?
I think so.
As they come to the
White
canal
cap.
turn, and Janica still miles clear. Decent jump there. Notebook is up there in second under Rachel Blackmore.
Animix.
It's Animix. Animix is
No,
there.
it's
Who's there
Pedro.
on
That
the
is Pedro.
outside?
It's
Pedro.
Oh, it's Pedro.
It's the Pedro.
Come on, Pedro.
But they're going to have to go some to catch this thing. He's really, really miles clear, Janica. He's opened up. He's 7-8 lengths
Let's hope
clear.
he's gone too fast,
From
Bruce.
pink-eyed Pedro on the outside.
This is a
Coming
good
up
ride,
on the
this.
inside is Via Dolorosa.
Oh, he's in tight.
Also
Very
prominently
tight.
there is
Morning Vicar's gone.
Morning Vicar's gone. So he's out the
Senior
race.
citizen going well, guys. Loves these
Killer
fences.
Clown is
Yes,
making
he is.
ground on the
He's
outside.
creeping.
Who's the other grey on the inside? That's Batico.
Yeah.
But it's still by 6 lengths, Janica. Pink-eyed
Come on,
Pedro in
Pedro.
second. Via
Palmer's
Dolorosa in
Dolorosa
third.
goes well.
Notebook in fourth. Animix in fifth. Batico in sixth. And also
Batico.
battle over Doyen is going well.
Oh,
Killer
Pedro.
Clown just struggling a little bit. Let's see what else we've got. There's probably a dozen that you think might have a chance.
Melling
What
Road.
price is
Go
the
back to
one-
Melling.
Pull up.
Melling Road.
What price is the one in
Over
front?
the Melling Road.
6.4. Janica currently trading at 8.6.
Oh, Mac Totti's cruising.
Mac Totty.
Come on, the
Look
Totty.
at Mac Totty. Look at Killer
On
Clown.
Ladies' Day.
Come on, the clown.
Come on, the Totty.
Look at the clown. Killer Clown's going
Thanks
well, but
to
it's
it,
still
yeah.
as they turn in Janica.
This is
From
all
Not to their
over.
Mac
heels,
Totty. And then on the inside,
James tagging onto them.
who
Spirit
is
of the Games.
Oh yeah, Spirit of the Games. Go on, Spirit. Aye,
Pedro
aye.
finished fifth.
Also going well is Palmer's Hill. Killer Clown on the outside, he's putting it down, but it's still just no. It's now
on,
going to
the
be
Totty.
as they jump the second last. It's Mac Totty from
Go on, you
Animix.
Totty.
Janica's still in there. On the inside, Pedro's
Go on, Pedro.
still going well. On the outside,
Look at
Killer
this, he's
Clown
choosing
is
Mac
moving
Totty.
away.
Surely
Mac
Mac Totty
Totty
wins
now
this.
as they come down to the last, and
What's
then it's
the
the
danger?
long, grueling running. Animix
Go on,
is
the
in
Totty.
second.
Gone
Mac
third.
Totty, and then we've got 2 greys after him. It's
Mullins is
Batico.
chasing
Away, is
me.
he?
But can they beat him?
He
It's
sends
too-
him on.
He sends him on.
Spirit of the Games is going to finish fifth.
Mac
Yeah,
Totty.
I know. He's got it
The
definitely.
handbrake is off.
Mac Totty. Oh, it's a loose horse at the elbow.
Don't you
But
dare.
Mac Totty looks like he's got this
Oh, he's won it.
absolutely wrapped
He's got it
up
won.
for David Orton. He's won me. He's 5 lengths clear.
And he's going to be
Aye,
fifth.
aye.
He's going to be fifth.
Mac
He's
Totty,
gonna
well
be
done,
fifth.
Dave Orton. You sussed it. Mac Totty wins the Topham from Batico, from Animix, from something
Spirit of the
else.
Games in
Spirit of the
Spirit of the
Games.
Games in
Oh,
fifth.
Spirit of the Games of it.
Yeah,
Frankie
Spirit.
DeBerno was fourth. What a lark that was, Barry Orr. You called it 2 out. You went 2's on.
It was on 2's out. Yeah, there's a plenty traded short there, really. McToddy, the Betfair SP at 13.6, Dave. Outside of that, just let me get it here. Janica, that traded at a low 2-1 in running, so 3.05 for Janica. Oh, Spirit of the Games traded at a low of 3.45, 9-4. Would you believe?
Who is back in?
To finish
It's when
fifth.
Barry called it. It's when Barry
Like
called it.
Pedro, 4.4 in running, at a low of 4.4 in running. Just crazy race altogether, but great to see
When
you on the scoreboard, Dave.
When did
at the
Janica?
last.
When did Janica go 2-1? I'd be interested because it might have been in Beechers. It might, he was that far clear early
Yeah.
on. I don't think it would have been crossing
Yeah, no,
the
it
Melling
was.
Road.
There was at least 4 out, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at Mac Totty because, again,
Well, too.
Horses that just love these fences, and it's just, I don't know, you watched him in the Grand Sefton when was it Senior Citizen he beat? It was, but go all the way back to November. They then tried to make him into a national horse. Do you remember the quotes coming from the Bowens? Right, we're going for the national, because we all said we'll top him, it's perfect. They ran him in the Beecher. He probably took loads out of him behind Snow Leopardess. In fact, he fell, didn't he? Wow, okay, fell at the 6th. Pulled up next time, went to Kempton, no good there. Probably a prep last time at Newcastle for this, and the Bowens, just at this meeting every year. And I'll tell you what, Franklin de Burley, for Roddy Owen, has run an absolute steamer
well,
as
he's fourth.
Mullins had the
first
second
and
and
fourth
third.
for the Bowens.
Yeah, this is a real trainer's race.
No, Ted Walsh is Batico, isn't he?
Is he?
Second, yeah.
Oh, OK, all right, yeah. He does have these colours, doesn't it? It's the McMahon colours.
I'll tell you,
isn't it?
can I
Sheila
just make
Seminary colours,
a
isn't
very important point, that was a very tough jumping race around the Grand National fences, and Grays have finished second and third.
Oh, yeah. Right.
OK, all right.
What does that matter?
Well, he's trying to claw him some sort of
overanalyzing.
respectability. Gray's jumped better. You know, that was one of his statements, wasn't it?
Steve Palmer always says he backs Grays because he thinks they look more up for it, but I'm not having that.
Well, Snow Leopardess is the big grey, of course, tomorrow. Let's just dissect that and then move on with some more national thoughts. Get the 1-2 for Bruce and G-Rod tomorrow, and maybe what's happening in the big market itself. One more to come here. The 440 is the last race on this fabulous Friday, frantic Friday, insane Friday. I'll tell you what, James Bowen, considering he came off earlier, so Endo's not watching that, but absolutely delighted for his dad, Peter Bowen. Yeah, I don't know, he's been around for a long, long time. Is he great to see? Just, I wasn't sure he was going that well. I think he got hampered earlier, or he walked through the second, or something like that, because my eyes were on him. I think he wanted a piece of the early lead. It's actually worked out perfectly. He switched him wide, but he didn't need cruise in.
I definitely did, yeah. And it's a very patient ride from Jonbon. Jonbon won the Grand Sefton as well on that Hemmings horse.
And who does he ride
Warrior's
tomorrow?
Tail. Sam Crow.
Sam Crow.
We're not doing this.
No,
we're not doing
we
this.
mustn't do this. We're not talking ourselves into backing Sam
David
Crow.
Jennings-
We haven't got to our 1-2s yet. You've
Right.
speak
Jennings
for
was
yourself.
telling me that Elliot would have you back in Sam Crow.
Yeah, when DJ went to see Elliot, he was like, Gordon, please don't. I can't be back in Sam Crow. But they do believe in him still. So, look, who's with Sam Crow tomorrow in the National? Let's find out if that is Bruce's 1-2. So, the silver medal.
Can I just say well done with Mac Totti? That was a great sush.
Well, we've got to get one over the
case
line,
for it,
haven't we?
mate. That was excellent. Very, very good indeed. And Dave, you've got all tipsters have a mode, and when they speak in a certain way, and you can tell they properly fancy one. We had your famous one beginning with Jay, didn't we?
John Canoe.
John Canoe.
We haven't seen him over since,
and there was a
have we?
bit of John Canoe about that Mac Totti, so well played.
Cheers,
my friends.
Bruce. I needed it after Brave Man's game, I can tell you that, man. And thankfully, I was quickly off the All Mankind vibe, unlike some in the room. But
Where did Pedro finish
He
in?
finished sixth.
Oh, did he? Oh,
Yeah,
bit of
so-
each way collect.
Bit of each way money there,
Good.
yeah,
Well done.
for Pink Eye Pedro.
No, with Spirit of the Game's not sixth.
No, Spirit
Oh,
of the
he's
Games.
fifth.
I'll take you through that.
Fifth, was he?
If you've had a bet, Mac Totti won it, Batico second, Animix third, Frankie de Burley fourth, Spirit of the Game's fifth, and you reckon Pedro was sixth?
Pedro was sixth.
oh, he was watching it.
Yeah.
He was watching it, all right.
I can't remember. Senior Citizen was 8th. I can't remember what was 7th.
Well, last year's second, of course, Senior Citizen went well for a long way. But it's a great sight, look, and it warms us up for the National, which we're now going to do. Right, so we've got Run Wild Fred in fourth. We've got Eclair Surf in third.
Fiddler on the Roof in second.
Right.
This isn't a race for me in recent years, and the trends bear it out. It might be tomorrow, but generally speaking, you can't have all these horses that got P's and 8s and 6s by their name. They need to come into it in a bit of form. And Fiddler on the Roof has got everything a modern Grand National winner needs, in my opinion, except potentially the stamina. Except, I know that's a big if, but if you knew he stayed, he'd be a lot shorter and he'd carry more weight. I think he's a class act. I like him very much. The furthest he's ever run was in the Ladbroke Trophy, and he finished a great second in that. I just think that with plenty of extra places, he's going to give you a great each-way bet. He's a class act, and I just think Fiddler on the Roof is going to be quite hard to keep out the front 5 or 6.
Lots of people talking about Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, David Jennings is a big fan of him. And
Number one for DJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would, I said, if I'm being a fantasy market of what's going to lead across the Milling Road the last time, I went back Fiddler on the Roof.
Do you know he says he's misunderstood?
Misunderstood.
That's what DJ
Does
said
DJ
about
know he's a
Fiddler on the
horse?
Roof.
Yeah.
He's misunderstood.
Morrissey, I mean, he's a racehorse.
He is a remarkably consistent horse. It will either be something or bust with him, won't it?
He's consistent, so why would it be the something? He's consistent.
My worry with him was that race when he was second last time out at Ascot. Oh, that was a gruelling race. Fortescue won it, and
I like Fortescue for
They were
tomorrow.
absolutely walking up the running on really testing ground.
That was
And
in one of those
A while ago,
Sodexo
though,
Gold
G-Rod,
Cup
wasn't it?
races, wasn't it?
It was a while
40
ago.
odd days ago, and that's not to say that he's not going to reproduce it, but I just thought he had a really hard race there.
Again, if you're playing it simple and you want a decent horse with a class act and not a ridiculous weight, then I think Fiddler on the Roof will give you a good
I
run.
might well be overthinking.
But you think he
I
might
think you are.
be more of an Oliver Twist and have another second next to his name?
Possibly, but that's fine if you've backed him each way. You get a great run for your money and you get a place play out. So that's fine.
I'll stop using that line soon, viewers. Don't worry. I've reduced it. I've done it to death. I think that one. Right, silver medal. We've gone Fiddler on the Roof for Bruce.
I'm on Deaf Duty for second.
One
he
of the
won
magnificent 7 of Gordon's.
he won Punchestown the Grand National Trial, so stamina's no worry, and he finished 6th in the Ultima, which I think might throw up a few winners tomorrow, because I really fancy T Clipper to win the 4:15. He finished 4th in that race, the Ultima, he was 6th. Deaf Duty in that race. He's got a string of efforts in big handicap chases, like 20, 30 running. He's like 6th. He's a bit like Spirit of the Game. 6th, 5th, 6th. But he runs well all the time.
Is he a pig as well?
Did you pick it as well? Yeah.
No, but he won one. He won one.
Spirit of the
He won one. He won the Grand National Trial. So I think he's a very good each way bet to make the first sort of 6 or 7 Deaf Duty.
Still well handicapped on old form, I would wager.
Yeah, it's ancient form, isn't it? He's 5 years old.
He
came in. He was older age for the Ultima, and he's run fine. Yeah, he had a massive gap, about 3 years, didn't he, in his career? He's had a lot of goes in these big handicaps, which gives you confidence they'll get round. It was actually the fact that he'd had a lot of goes that put me off Manila Times last year. So maybe it's not the angle you should be writing off. I'm watching the replay of the top one, by the way. Matt he absolutely wears the second.
Yeah. I was just going to say as well, Dave, when there was that carnage, the defence before Beecher's, he did well. He just skirted round that. He could easily have got embroiled in that, but he skirted that.
He did an Edward
He's come
Stone.
from miles back, hasn't he? He's come from a long
he does,
way
and
back.
again, I had him down as an attacker in the race, but Janica's really served it up to him. So the second placing is done. Okay, and you've gone for a lot of back class so far.
Did you get Melrose's second?
He's on the show tomorrow.
He's on tomorrow,
so
he's
it's just
not doing
me
it.
and
It's
you.
just me and you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Have you not noticed that narrative going throughout the show?
I'm miles away.
Did you not think we've not got Barry's either? So we're saving that
Barry's
for tomorrow.
back tomorrow, no?
Of course he is.
Right, are you in tomorrow?
I might be.
So have you done yours yet or not?
Yeah, I know mine. Don't you worry about
You're
it.
going
Mate.
to tell them tomorrow.
Of course.
So it's just me and Bruce.
Mine is actually out.
Tell you what, I'm glad we've got somebody running the show to keep our mind.
If ever there was a senior producer job going, don't apply.
Nothing escapes you, does it, G-Rod?
Still wondering where all mankind is.
They've got quick slips now in the bookie shops when you put your national plate. Yeah, you can just put a little line in the box beside the horse's name.
That's a good way of doing it, isn't it? Rather than
Is it like playing the lottery?
And of course, you are going to be able to place a bet in a shop tomorrow, which you weren't allowed to do last year either, as well. All these things that you
It's
sort of
great
forget
in the
about.
betting shop.
I might do that. I might go to the betting
It's
shops.
really
mate.
good in betting
Do a football
shops, isn't it?
coupon and a.
There's usually like someone outside, isn't there, to greet you on Grand National Day. Is there at your local bookies? Someone stands outside and says,
Oh, yeah,
how
like
you
dressed as
doing?
something or like.
And it's really good
Like
fun.
a
in the bookies.
mascot.
This is what I like about living where I do, is that our local bookies is still quite a buzzing bookies.
Old
there's
school.
still, it's old school. There's still like a lot of
You've got
people
carpet in there.
They watch racing. It's not like all these people playing on the machines. It's like going back 10 years, 20 years to the good old days in the bookies.
When there was just a line of smoke across the ceiling, wasn't there? And you used to walk in the carpet.
Well, that wasn't so.
And you'd know your bookie by name, wouldn't you, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, we're
giving out
going
winners
down memory
now?
lane. Let's do the winners now. I think we'll get it out of the way, and then we'll get your top 4 after the final race, which is coming up here on Racing Post Live. Don't worry, don't adjust your screen. We have got one more to go, and it's a grade 1 for you. OK, Run Wild Fred follows home Eclair Surf, who follows home Fiddler on the Roof, who follows home...
Easy like a Saturday afternoon.
I know who he's tipped to, that's tenuous.
Commodore. The only thing when
Richie.
when that idea came into my head, I thought, is that a Lionel Richie solo track or was it the Commodores?
It was the Commodores, I'm pretty sure.
Did you ever think you'd be doing that on camera? Did you? Pointless to this.
You should have seen the singing I was doing in the karaoke bar in Portugal last week. Mate.
Really?
That's that easy, yeah.
Would you straight up there, would you?
Yeah.
Really love it.
I did The Wonder of You by Elvis.
Very good song.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
karaoke
We all
classic,
wanted to
isn't
go
it?
there, didn't we?
Oh, wow, that is, tell you what, you get it from your soles of your feet, that one, wouldn't it?
It's a beauty.
Bloody hell.
Brought the house down. Anyway,
The
Commodore.
Reserve.
Commodore absolutely blew me away when he won at Cheltenham in December. I just thought it was a brilliant run. I just thought it just exuded power. And I just thought, that's great. Vinicius stuck him away. He's come back. He's a bit fragile, isn't he, Keith? I mean,
Yeah, he doesn't really track very often.
No, he doesn't.
He has had entries, isn't he? It's not like this has been a fresh up.
And obviously, we do have this lingering issue with Vinicius' horses not running very
well.
well.
That's what I was about to say. Can I say what all the viewers will be saying now? They'll be like, what about, it's trained by?
Yeah, I know.
Not going to worry. He's fresh, I suppose, isn't he?
Unless she comes out and says, sorry, there's sickness
a bug.
in it. There's a bug. Then
this could be I like that.
Look, he's 40-1, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a massive price for a horse who that single run there is the most impressive piece of national form I've seen this all season. So I'm going to take a chance on Commodore. I think Fiddler's kind of safer each way option, but I'm going to go for it with Commodore.
Form perspective, Mr. Fogpatches, he thrashed, didn't he? It was quite a key horse, third in the Scottish National, third in the Thyestes behind Longhouse Poet.
He was. Commodore, it was very, very impressive that day, and a winning bet for both Pricewise and Keeley, if you recall. But there were N-1 bad rides in that race. I mean, it's very impressive. You can't say that he wouldn't have won either way, but there was N-1 bad rides. It gave Charlie Deutsch a lot of rope. He'll do well to get that international, but he clearly is best fresh. He suits bounce out in front in these big field handicap chases. It would not be a surprise at all if he was to run well.
He's grey.
So he must jump well.
So he must jump well.
Yeah,
there's a less than tenuous link coming up. Commodore Barry snuck into the race. Probably even didn't think they were going to have a runner a week ago. What price on the sportsbook, please?
20-1.
20? Oh, there you go.
Is he really as short as that now?
Wow.
Come in.
Yeah, he's coming in.
That's
That's
in the last minute.
He was in danger, obviously, of not getting into the race. So
Yeah.
obviously, once he's got in, his price contracted.
I like him.
Because there was a theory, wasn't there, that the bookmakers have been caught out by Claire Surf because they priced him so big because he didn't think he might get a run, you see. So Commodores might be the same here. All right.
That's why it's best to wait. I always say to you boys.
You do.
Everyone tries to pick the Grand National winner 2-3 weeks out. Just wait till they're declared, wait till you know who's running, and then have a study up.
Because, of course, your thing at Cheltenham was, wasn't it? All these previews I'm looking on Monday night. Yeah, I know.
And every judge comes into it weighed down by everything they've tipped at the Dog and Duck and at this and that and the other. Wait till they're declared. Wait till you know what the ground is.
Okay.
Wait till you know what latest mark is, and then start studying. You don't get extra payout the earlier you pick the winner.
So a grey wins the 2022 Grand National for Bruce Millington. We'll get that 4 up for you at the end of the show. From one grey to another in more ways than one.
Yeah, I have gone for Good Boy Bobby.
Hey?
Good Boy Bobby.
I heard you doing the postcard study. Didn't you put Snow Leopardess up?
No, Good Boy Bobby. You don't listen
He said it a few times now. He said it a few times.
Have you?
Well, no, as in like in the last 30 seconds.
I actually quite like the name. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
But there's a bit more to it than that.
Let's hope so.
He obviously won
The man accused of overthinking.
He won the Roland Merrick at Wetherby, and I thought it was a very strong stay-in performance that day.
He beat Lord Dominion, who's also due to run.
It took them a minute to run the last 3 furlongs.
Is that fast?
That's 20 seconds a furlong, mate.
It's
that?
Charlie
Is that
Postsource,
fast?
Good boy, Bobby. He loves
Fast?
it.
Well, you know full well what's fast, mate. Don't act stupid.
I think that was a very strong stay-in performance, and I think that he last time out at when he ran at Kempton last time out, he was beaten 30 lengths, but he didn't have a hard race on decent ground at Kempton, which a lot of these did have hard races last time out on testing ground, and I thought it was a nice prep. And the guy that trains Nigel Twist and David.
Oh yeah, him. Is it him?
Yeah.
He might just have won the national before.
Put another 20p in his bet. He's slowing down a bit.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's been a long day. He's won 2 Grand Nationals, and
Yeah, he has.
Bruce,
Name the first one.
Bruce
Bindery.
and Keith's got the other one.
Summit was the first one.
Oh, well, Summit was the first one,
The
sorry.
famous Des Lynam interview, wasn't it? Brilliant, that.
Yeah, so he's.
So good boy Bobby on top. Didn't think I was going to hear that.
Good
We
boy,
think
Bobby.
the choice of Daryl Jacob, although it might have been the plan for James Bowen to ride Kildasart all along. Because Daryl, we didn't know whether he was going to be back for this or not. Didn't think I'd be asking you for the price of good boy Bobby, Barry, to win the Grand National on the sportsbook.
40-1. And believe it or not, we've seen the lads in the officer reporting, they've seen money for Good Boy Bobby and Bobby Firmino to score on Sunday in the big clash between Man City and Liverpool.
That
seems to be one of those coincidental
Yes.
bets. There's a massive thunderstorm here in Dublin at the moment.
Is there?
Thunder and
Brilliant.
lightning and hailstones the size of golf balls are falling outside the window. It's
I hope
bad.
you're not going to lose you, Barry,
man.
that's for sure. I thought you were going to say Snow Leopard Desperate.
I
Yeah,
will
you're right.
never-
Barry, let's stick with you then. The big one, 5:15 tomorrow. We're going to be building it up for an hour. We're going to be doing Raucous Pin Stickers Guide, the one-word guide on each horse we did. Be with us, viewers, tomorrow for that. It is the unmissable hour leading in. We're going to have raucous time. Who's going to go off Fav, Barry Orr? 24 hours to go in the biggie.
Does anyone really care who goes off Fav? At the moment, it's 10 to field. It was 8 to field. Snow Leopardess and any second now. 11 Delta Work. I think those days are gone of people just selecting Fav in the race. But if you had to push me on one, I'd say maybe because, and I said this to you yesterday, Dave, because she's so well known now, having won Sports Personality of the Year in the Gold Cup, and she seems to be a favourite among recreational punters. You'd have to say Rachel Backmore in last year's winner, Manila Times.
Wow. I thought you were going to do a G-Rod on me there and just bat it straight back. But thankfully, there was a coherent argument. And she does look like she's coming in, despite the fact she's got an F&P next to his name, £15
What is the housewife's choice this year?
Rachel Blackmore.
Do you reckon?
Good question. All right, we've got to move on to the next race. We'll think about that one. Anyway, great
Anything
stuff.
like anything with a name in it of somebody is going to be
Yeah.
popular, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
Good
Good Boy Bobby.
Yeah.
Are there any reds this year?
Yeah, we will. Barry firing shots today, says Hugh Masson. Right, 10 minutes now we've got to build up to the final race of the day. It is the 440, the 3 mile. What's it called these days, Keith, this
It's
race?
the Sefton, isn't it?
The Sefton.
The Cavani
yeah.
menswear.
It's the
Cavani men. You've made that up.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Absolutely.
Does Eddington
It's good to
Cavani
see a range of sponsors, actually, by the way, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is, yeah,
It is,
exactly.
I agree with that.
Don't poo-poo
The
Cavani
Cavani
menswear.
menswear,
Is that his
Sefton
brand?
Grade 1.
Probably
Won by
not.
some really good horses over the year. Banbridge, a Cheltenham Festival winner, Barry, for Joseph O'Brien, heading the market.
Yeah, favourite at bang on 11 to 4, 3.75. Jelena Bello, which I think Paul Nichols was very sweet on his chances, is 5.2. 8-4 Crystal Glory. It's Catastic 7.4 and it's 14 bar. I like Crystal Glory in it, please, Keaton. We're going to back at Winning Place on the Exchange. He won novices in Hexham and Newcastle. Couldn't give £12 to Rafferty's return in Newcastle then. The winners upheld that form. And his second to Hillcrest, although on bottomless ground in Haydock, does read well. Currently trading at 8.4. Happy to be a price taker here. 25 quid win and 25 quid in the standard 3-place market, although there is 2, 4 and 5 places here on the sports book. But in the standard place market, we're backing them at around the 7 to 4 mark.
All right, great stuff. Crystal Glory, who Barry put up his lucky 15 at the start of the day. Quick one. Dave Lowe, one of our producers, just chatting me up and said...
Chatting you up.
Hang on a minute. Daryl Jacob, this is one for you. This is to rid of all mankind, to get you more positive for the big day ahead. Move on in racing, G-Rod. Daryl told Ben Pauling on Sunday he would ride Goodbye Bobby as he's much better handicap than Kildesart. Kills won't like that, but because he's got Kildesart as one of his big picks.
I would
Keep the faith, man.
do 50p match bet on
Kildesart,
Good Boy Bobby. Yeah.
We'll let you get on with
Could
that
have a
one.
pint on it.
I am looking for a
Talk
class...
about match bets.
Well, yeah, he doesn't...
Did he pay the 100 quid to the Injured Jockeys Fund?
It's a good
I
question.
might have known that was coming.
Yeah.
Have I done you in here? Have I done your legs?
I haven't seen any checks being written yet. I'm hoping for a serious performance here, and I'm looking for the horse that I think might be the ace in the pack for next year. And I've got to be with Skytastic here. For Sam Thomas, Di Walters, and Sam Twiston Davis, another link for Good Boy Bobby. I'm hoping he can go into Saturday in the High. He's unbeaten. We spoke to Sam just before he won the Welsh Grand National. He couldn't hide his love for this chap, so he did a couple of hold-ups and will just keep him low. But I thought he did really well at Ascot on his comeback to beat a horse that was tried at Cheltenham, overfaced in Scarface. Quite talented, I think, he'll be Scarface in time. The trip is something of an unknown, but if you watch that back, you've got time in your members club. As I always say, he is grinding on that running. He looked vulnerable when he was attacked and he keeps going. He's the 1-1-1 horse in the pack. Banbridge, I think, might have had a pretty hard race here. He's over bet for me. And while I like Janino Bello on that previous Aintree run at the start of the season, I think he's too short. So I'm keen on Skytastic. Anyone else?
People do run scared of that Martin Pipe form now, don't they? Like those horses turn up in Grade 1s.
Galloping.
Well, exactly. Happens. What was Sturdy Champ did it. And all,
They were all trained by Mullins, though.
yeah, Kilto Vic. Yeah, they are. But Elliot, has Elliot done it? Has he not had a...
Yeah, he's won it, yeah.
He's won the Martin Pipe. It's whether he's had one that's went on to win a Grade 1. But anyway,
he has.
People run scared of that form, basically.
I don't think that Elliot had one that went on to win Grade 1, though. I think all the ones that went on to win Grade 1s were Mullins.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the previous winners. Oh, you know who won this last year,
This
of
is
course?
not Mullins, is it?
Senor.
Ahoy Senor, who won it the previous year?
It's usually flits between good horses and rags that win this.
It was a brilliant ride.
Indefatigable.
Santini won it.
No.
Didn't he?
Champ won it.
Wow.
In 2019,
Santini.
he was touched off, wasn't he, by City Island in the Ballymore?
He was, yeah.
And came here
And
over
then he
3
settled pretty
brilliant
well.
ride by Mark Walsh.
Yeah, settled well in the
Santini
Brave Man's was
before that.
second last year, wasn't he?
Brave Man's was second last year. So, look, the cream rising is at Fisher's Cross won the
Is
Albert
Champ-
Bartlett and came here.
Is Champ running in the Liverpool Hurdle on Saturday?
He is.
He is.
He
so
is.
we could have the last 3 winners of this race winning this weekend. If Santini wins the next
Isn't
year.
isn't it nice, lads, to have a Grade 1 with 14 runners in it? Because small fields have absolutely blighted
Yes.
this come. And you refer to it as a handicap because we're just not used, are we, to having big runner, wide
Probably
open
why I
Grade
did it.
1s.
Yeah.
The Albert
I was
Bartlett.
digging
G-Rod.
No.
Champagne Classic won the Martin Pipe, and at the time, I think O'Leary said it was his worst horse in
That's
training,
right.
and its following run, he won a Grade 1 in Punchestown.
Well done, Barry.
Well
You're
done, Barry.
absolutely right. He did. He never quite went on over fences, that horse, did he? He
Was
was a
that
very
Gordon
talented
Elliott
animal.
horse, was it?
It would have been, yeah. Well, it
Elliot,
wouldn't
yeah.
have been Mullins, would it?
I'm looking for the time of the Topham, by the way, guys, before we get G-Rod and Keith and Bruce's tip on this. I've got a feeling it was pretty lively, so don't be surprised if they
I wouldn't be
tapped some
surprised
tonight.
because obviously Janica made sure they
Slow
won.
by 2.89 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, standard times of the national course, there's only 5 races a year.
Yeah, and we won't go into it, but no problems with the watering, right? None whatsoever.
If they water,
Oh, will they
water.
water tonight?
Wouldn't have any
Yeah, they're
problem
going
at
to
all.
Barry,
Why
I think.
not?
Yeah,
Why not?
no problems.
That's what
Got
you
no
need to
problems
do.
with it. Yeah, absolutely not. So let's just get that one away. But it looks like they probably will. If you're worried about your horse not handling the ground or whatever, they'll get the taps on. Right, last race. I've gone Skytastic. Bruce has gone.
I like Skytastic. I agree with you. I think the favourite's short, and that was a hard race. So I'm rowing in with Barry with Crystal Glory, progressive. I know that you can say, well, the run behind Hillcrest might not look as good after Hillcrest blew out, but I think Hillcrest's blowout at Cheltenham wasn't indicative of sort of regression. It just something happened that day.
There was early money for Crystal Glory yesterday, and this is unlike Nicky Richards these days. He used to have a great record at this meeting. We remember, obviously, Monets, all that sort of stuff. But he used to run all his best novices here.
He had that 2-miler not that long ago, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I can't for the life of me.
That
think
was a
what
good
it's called.
horse. Was
But the 2 seconds he's had, last 2 seconds he's finished, I think, 41 and 27 lengths in front of the third.
It's Hillcrest form,
yeah.
this, isn't it?
So it's decent. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's progressive. And looking at the price, if you're getting some extra places, I think he's a nice little each way bet.
I also think he's going to improve for the better ground. G-Rod.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that he has got the best form in the race, Crystal Glory. I think that was a really good run behind Hillcrest. But it does worry me that Hillcrest blew out entirely because that was an absolutely brutal race that Hillcrest won.
Well, he's had longer to recover, hasn't
They
he?
went bonkers early on, like they really did go hard. I tipped a horse in it, and it was beaten like early because they went so fast. And Hillcrest was relentless. He was absolutely relentless. And when he turned up for Cheltenham, I just don't think he was on his game because I think he had a hard race and Haydock heavy, isn't it? So that was what put me off. He was right at the top of my list, Crystal Glory. And then I saw which race it was, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to be backing him after such a hard race there at Haydock. So I left the race alone from a punting perspective. But if that race had been anywhere other than Haydock on heavy ground, I'd have probably backed Crystal Glory.
It's funny though, isn't it, Gerard? You do get horses look like they've had an absolute slog at Haydock and still come out and do okay next time out.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
plenty,
we
isn't there?
saw
Plenty of examples.
Ahoy Senor earlier. Come out and after a really hard race at Cheltenham on heavy ground and win, but yet Long Press come out off
They're
a really
all
hard.
individuals,
so they're
as
all
Pat said
different
yesterday.
horses,
That's
you know.
right, exactly. People thought, but there's rules. There are no rules. That's rule 1. There's no rules.
Yeah, yes, absolutely right.
I mean, you either have that as a rule or you don't.
You think
You
it's
either
Fight
have
Club
that as a
keep?
rule or you don't. I tend to.
This is Barry?
have that by as a
Go
rule.
on, Barry.
I said, you think it's Fight Club keep?
Fight
First rule of Fight Club,
Well,
there's
if
no rules.
First rule.
Why no risk at all here? Why are they running this one instead of no risk at all? Was there any word on him?
Good risk at all.
They might be holding his mark.
Potentially. I wouldn't be surprised if he turned up.
137. They might be keeping his mark for a race. I don't know.
He might have had an issue. We don't know, but you're right. There was a lot of. He was livid, Sam, was he? He didn't get into the Coral Cup. Let's see if he's got any entries. We might. It's totally surprised to see him in Ireland. Of course, he's entered tomorrow. That would be white. Yeah. He's in the Mersey. There you go.
He's in the Mersey tomorrow.
Yeah,
Mersey, grade 1, 2.5 mile.
Yeah, he shows
That'd
how
be a
far
nice
we look
double
ahead.
for him to get.
Wouldn't it? He's one of the best target trainers, young target trainers around for me now, Sam.
He took a while to get going. He started off and I thought, you're not much cop, but he's actually really good now.
Yeah. Keith, what wins the last?
I have taken a bit of a swing. A horse that I think is definitely going to show himself to be a 145, 150 horse in due course is Bold Endeavour. He might, whether he needs 3 miles or whether he's paceless, yet to decide. He definitely needs more of a stamina test that he's been getting.
I backed him at Kelso last time, thinking he might upset the apple cart.
Yeah, I gave him a chance that day. He just was too slow again. He needs a trip or something, and I'm convinced this is a good horse.
When you speak to industry professionals, they think that Laura Morgan is the next big breakthrough trainer.
She's and she knows what she's doing in terms of punting one as well.
Yeah.
So she's a
She
very
certainly does.
She's a very switched on trainer. She was in one of her horses was in that Musselburgh Gamble, wasn't it?
Well, I thought all 3 of them were, weren't they?
The old Morgan.
Yeah.
Jardin was involved, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was
he had a couple of them as well.
That was the famous one, but she had a treble of her own.
She
didn't
does,
she?
She's just a very good trainer.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
And
Charlie Post talks.
It's a matter of time until she
regard.
It's a matter of time until she's got a grade 2, grade 1 horse, and it might be this horse.
Right then, there's a race after this, of course, isn't there? With Whiz Kid, the conditional rider.
G-Rod's got one for that at a massive price.
We're going to save that for after this, shall we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have.
Don't let us forget that.
All right, so stay with us. We'll be back tomorrow. What a lineup we've got. What a pleasure it's been today to have Bruce back in. I guess it'll be Royal Ascot after this now, won't it?
I think you've got me doing one in Chester, haven't you?
In May.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Friday of Chester.
Brilliant.
I'm presenting.
Oh, there you go. There's a
easy
treat
one.
for you. Yes, indeed. I shall be watching on.
I'll tell you what.
Happy days. Okay, all right. So, and then Royal Ascot. Can you believe that we're going to switch attentions very quickly next week? All right, but this is going to be a cracker. Good luck wherever you've played. If you're with Banbridge, all the very best. The cavalry will be mounting behind you. Bruce, the flag is down.
3 miles and half a furlong is the trip. 14 runners for the Grade 1. Cavani Menswear, Sefton Novices Hurdle, won last year by Ahoy Senior. And early doors, there's a grey up there called Gentleman at Arms. But the first one over, the first, is probably just about... who's that on the inside? Is that Skytastic going well early on? Yeah, but he's just taking a bit of a pull. He's trying to retrain him. He's having a little fight with him there, isn't he? You mad on that?
No.
Staghorn now takes it up, actually. 2 laps to go, and on the outside, the red colours of Green Book. Let's see if Venetia can get a decent run under a belt today to give us a little bit of hope.
Ooh, there's a bit of skimmage in
pulling there.
Banbridge got messed about, by the way, guys. Sorry.
He's got forced quite wide,
My
hasn't
Bobby
he?
Dazzler took him wide.
Duke of Bronte is watching on from the back, and Gelino Bello has got a nice pitch on the heels of the front 2. Has the early couple of furlongs, has that caused any ripples in the market, Barry Orr?
No, nothing really at all. Bruce, to be perfectly honest with you, Staghorn is a bigger price than his Betfair SP and running. He's 36 from 32. Your favourite was returned to 4.05 Banbridge into 3.7, so 11 to 4, 3 to 1.
Anything catch your eye, Keithy?
No, not so far. It's they're just starting to really race, aren't they? It's actually going a bit more of a pace than I thought they might. In the early
Nick
stages.
Schofield must be getting excited now, surely.
I'm not sure.
Bold Endeavour.
What do you think?
Not great news out the back. Bold
he's
Endeavour
getting
seems to have
pulled
taken
up.
a full step and he's been pulled up. He jumped the hurdle okay, but the jockey just seemed to sort of, I don't know, something happened after the hurdle, so he's been pulled up, unfortunately. That is not good news. So, Bold Endeavour out the race. They jumped the middle one down the back even, and it's Staghorn, and on the outside Green Book, and on the inside Skytastic, who's settled okay. Janino Bello is in 4th. In 5th place, we've got Banbridge, who's up there along with Bow to Greatness. On the outside is Ho Esteem. Crystal Glory going just fine in midfield. On the inside, we've got Gentleman at Arms. So nothing's out of it yet, apart from Bold Endeavour. G-Rod, have you got any early thoughts?
No.
Crystal Glory, I'll adapt the mantle. Crystal Glory is going in exactly the position I want to be in, Bruce. He's about 6th, and he's got lovely
he's
cover.
absolutely fine, isn't he? They're turning into the
This will be
straight.
interesting because you've got these two horses in front. These are sort of softer ground horses on the flat. But Staghorn has been jumping especially slickly, and Green Book obviously is a smart horse on the flat too.
Nick Schofield's riding Staghorn.
Yeah.
I wonder how excited he was about this one.
We've done that one, Bruce.
Eh?
We did that one earlier. We did that in the back.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Catch up, Bruce.
That's when you're
All right,
letting
all
through
right,
to the
all right.
keeper lines
Yeah,
to me,
all right,
usually.
all right. Yeah, no, he dug me out there, a treat, Keith, didn't he? All right. Revenge will be mine. Staghorn then, as they jump the second one up the straight with a circuit and a couple of flights to go. Staghorn on the outside, Green Book. Have you formulated any opinions
Not a
yet?
lot happens in these 3-mile races, does it, for the first circuit? Like, they kind of amble. Keith and I
Bold Endeavour's pulled
had
it up.
this
That
discussion
happened.
What do you do when
recently.
you're at the races and you're watching a 3-mile race? And do you go to the bar
No,
and then
I
come
mean, I
back?
do watch the first, but not a lot happens. Keith and I were having this discussion the other day about stayers races, and I generally just believe that a lot of these races, particularly over hurdles, they amble round, then they sprint up the straight, and the quickest horse wins.
Right, OK. Well, they're doing 29 miles
Generally
now. That's an
speaking.
honest enough space, isn't
They
it?
do 29 miles every race.
And they were going a reasonable clip down the back. You know,
It's
it's
just
not.
always 30 miles an hour.
always, yeah,
I know we
it's
sort
always
of
the
coined
same.
Yeah,
it.
you're right, actually. That is the speed horses gallop.
Exactly.
Right,
is.
OK.
How do they measure that?
They've got a circuit to
Have
go.
they got
I'll
something?
explain
Got a chip
later,
in
right, Giro?
Have they got a chip in there, yeah?
I don't
Chips in
know.
their saddle.
Well, G-Rob thinks we've got time
Yeah,
to talk
it's
about
chips
it.
in the
Yeah,
saddle
right.
club.
Well, we
Okay.
have, nothing's happening.
Shall we go to Barry for a market update?
Yeah, OK.
The favourite was into 2-1, 8 to 5 to 2 now, Banbridge. So no real market news. They 5.3 Jelena Bello, 6-4 Crystal. Green Book into 13, obviously, because he's up there, and Staghorn into 22 at a Betfair SP at 32.
Okay.
OK,
thanks, Barry.
right then. So they are injecting a little bit of pace. They're up to 31 miles now. And
Now we're racing.
Jeleno Bello is taking a more prominent position. There's 4 in front as they jump the middle one down the back
Staghorn,
straight.
such a slick
Staghorn
hurdler,
is
isn't he?
still,
Very slick
he's
hurdler.
still in front. He is. He's a Archibald, isn't he? He's a lovely
He
jumper
was a
of a
good flat
hurdle.
horse and all, wasn't he?
Oh, he
All he
is,
does
yeah.
is stay on the flat.
So
Keep going.
Staghorn as they jump the final one down the back. Green Book is sticking at it on the inside. Skytastic and Janino Bello are between them. On the inside, going okay,
You happy with
is
Crystal Glory,
Gentleman
lads?
at Arms. Crystal Glory's going well. Banbridge is
Banbridge
still up there, no
Banbridge
problem.
is coming off the bit now.
Bow to Greatness is okay. Also on the inside in the blue and orange is
Victor
Fair
Bronte's going
Frontier.
well.
That's got a decent pitch, although he's a little bit squeezed on the inside. Still
8.2
Staghorn.
Banbridge, Jelena Bello and Skytastic, your favourites in running now at
Yeah.
130 each of two.
Banbridge is
12
Crystal.
Banbridge.
is
I like
going.
Crystal.
He's wide and getting ridden, Banbridge.
like
I'm not
Crystal.
fancying him at all.
Skytastic is
I'll
a
tell you,
good looker,
I
isn't
really
he?
like Duke of Bronte.
That's
Oh, the
that's
blue.
an
Yeah, that's
Millman
making
horse,
ground.
that is.
Yeah, that's
Is it
making
Millman?
ground.
Millman?
Yeah,
Millman
that is
Millman used to
making
train
ground.
it.
Come
Okay,
on,
right,
Millman.
they're turning in now. Still, Staghorn is in front. He will not cede the lead. Skytastic is on his haunches and in third on the outside. Jeleno Bello. Banbridge on the outer, not going very well at all. Crystal Glory going very well in fourth, though.
Oh, he's hit the
Skytastic
Skytastic.
missed it.
Skytastic missed that, and
look
that
at that.
might have done for him.
Gentleman
Jeleno
at
Bello.
arms.
Hey, Jeleno
Jeleno
Bello.
Bello is going to
Bloody
win this,
look
isn't
at
he?
this.
Two out.
Gentleman
Massive
at arms.
scrimmaging.
Oh, it's got taken
Staghorn.
out.
Gentleman at Arms on the inside of
Crystal Glory
Jeleno
trying.
Bello.
Gentleman at Arms, it's
Crystal
gonna be
Glory
Edmonds.
also trying to stay on
Edmonds.
his Ho Estimate.
Can't believe
It's
he didn't
come
mind this.
down to
Kieran
2
Gethings.
though.
Wow.
There are.
This is Kate
This is
Tracy.
down to Jeleno Bello and
Here comes Finger de
Gentleman
Guy.
at
Come
Arms.
on, Kieran!
On the jump.
Jeleno Bello jumps
both
the
rolled
line.
it.
From Gentleman at
Jeleno
Arms.
Bello wins.
In
Oh,
third,
Kieran.
it is Crystal Glory and also
away.
Ho Estimate, but Jeleno Bello. The first race was won by Dan Skelton, and this race is going to be won by Paul Nicholls. What am I on about?
Paul Nicholls,
Jeleno Bello for Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden by 4 lengths from Gentleman at Arms, staying on his O Estimate, and then in fourth we've got Crystal Glory. If you took extra places, Bridge North is fifth.
Thank you very much for the final time today. Bruce calls them home. Jeleno Bello, really well back for the Nichols Yard. Now you'll be looking forward to speaking to him on Monday, Barry.
Yeah, can't wait. It's good to get that on.
That
Good to
thing's-
get that on the board. Obviously, the runner-up, Gentleman at Arms, trade at a low of 2s on 1.55. Jeleno Bello traded at a high of 7.8. I don't think that was in running, really, because he had a Betfair SP of 5.47. The thirds ran an absolute cracker. What she rated? 127, the mare.
Yeah,
Derek Fox.
Yeah, it's another Lucinda horse at a big price in this race, running
Yeah.
really well.
100 to 1 that
in
went
the
off.
Vongar de Guy colours, of course, the way the softest horse in training. It shaped really quite well, and that winner is a proper chaser, isn't he? Look at the size of him.
When he was a winner here, was he winner here? He was, wasn't he? And then he went to Blazing Cal, didn't he? And Blazing Cal saw him off. All the people that backed Blazing Cal for the Albert Bartlett.
Just not that I've been following the horse's career all that closely, but you can just see
track.
Look at the size of him. You can tell this is a horse that's taken a few runs to really sort of learn.
Old school
the game.
owners love the chasers.
Yeah, exactly. This is a chaser next year. I assume this gets a Brown Advisory quote. To be honest, I wouldn't know.
He jumped very well.
He's just got a 3 mile chaser written all over him.
His best form is at Aintree, so should we be thinking about this 12 months' time?
Another one.
Right, well, are you asking for a quote from the mild me? I'm not sure Barry will give you that.
Well, Gentleman at Arms has run a blinder, hasn't he? And every year,
Brown Advisory is 16.
Stuart Edmonds was voted. I think it was between his industry peers. I can't remember who the awards were. The smallest string trainer, the best small string trainer out there, Stuart Edmonds.
Oh, yeah?
He's had to move his gallops, basically. They've had all sorts of problems with him all year.
He's a really good trainer,
he's a very good trainer, Stuart.
Yeah, but I do like Stuart Edmonds, but he's just another one.
Barry's mentioned 16 for the Brown Advisory there. Perfectly fair as far as I'm concerned. That horse might be.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I thought that was decent.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's an Aintree horse. That.
Well, okay.
It might be an Aintree horse. That's the thing. And the thing is, Nichols will exercise that right if he thinks he's an Aintree horse.
Well, and he did that with Brave Man's Going.
Whatever happens, this has been an Aintree panel. Hasn't it been great? The big hitters all around you today. It's been absolute madness. We've got one more to come, of course, after we go off air. Make the case.
Yeah, now there's another horse that has got a really good Aintree back form and then suddenly come right back to form there. And there's a horse in the last race called Red Force 1 that I've backed at an absolutely huge price. I think you can get 66s or something. Now, I'm not going to say that he's definitely going to win a course at that sort of price. But he did finish 6th in this race last year off £8 higher mark. Ooh. And this race last year was a good race. Roland Ward won it. He obviously won a big handicap at Kempton this year. The second was Campron, who I think was 3rd in the Greatwood this year. The 4th was Leon Cavallo, who's run several good races in top handicaps since. That piece of form is just about the best piece of form on offer. And it is at Aintree, which we've seen come to the fore all day. He's got a ton of bad runs since, but he's £8 lower as a result. And he's been running quite well on the flat, so I'm going to give him a chance. Red Force 1 at a huge price each way.
5:15. We'll be getting down to the Thursday Bear and cheering that with G-Rod. Barry, day 2 done. What fun! Great panel, right?
Great panel, yeah. It's a pleasure to be in your company, lads, for the afternoon, and best of luck to everyone tomorrow in the big one.
Yeah, can't wait, Barry. Just literally under 24 hours, we will be getting very excited about the Grand National. All right, you've had the tips. Remind us who wins.
Commodore.
Remind us who wins.
Good boy, Bobby.
There you go. All right. Keith, you'll be back tomorrow?
I will, yeah.
Along with Barry, along with Nat Green and Ross Briley joining the panel again. We're going old school. Thanks for watching. I've been Dave Orton. Thanks to the guys in the gallery. 2 p.m. Saturday. The only place to be here on RP Live.